I'm still at this toad. I'm pretty dry right now. I got the weakness finder cape, which I don't think is going to be helpful for a while. It'll eventually be pretty good. That's a much rarer item, like a significantly rarer item than the labyrinth clue, which is like a 1 in 233. And I've definitely gotten way more kills than that. 374. So I guess I'm not like double dry, but would like to move on to something else. All I had to do was complain and it dropped basically immediately. So let me pick that up and we'll pick a different one to fight now. Get 5 total clues. I need to find something to like let run for several hours. I'm probably just going to try to train slayers somewhere. Obviously, I'd like to do something productive, I guess, but okay. So that's the only one I can really use ranged against. Hungry Plant and Alron, I should be able to do melee for. So let me re-gear for that. All right, Hungry Plant should be no problem. He can technically stun me, but I don't think I'm at a significant risk of that killing me or anything like that. I'll watch it just to make sure the max hit is below my auto-eat threshold. These guys do drop carrion bark, which is interesting. It's a secondary to make some of the ranged gear, the hardwood gear. I'll probably want to accrue a decent chunk of that. That's the only interesting thing it drops other than the clue? Okay. Whoa, got this clue way faster. Let's get out of here. I think I'm still completely safe against the other one, this thing, but let's see. Ready to run away. Yeah, damage amounts seem fine. Unavoidable slows you. Doesn't look like it does any kind of like stun. So it does sleep you, but I don't think the sleep is strong enough to put me in one-shot range, so it'll be completely fine. Here we might want to stay a bit for this body protection material. Let me figure out what the deal is with that. So 1 in 3 drop, and 100 of them make a piece of ranged armor that's okay. 12% damage reduction is pretty good. Whenever you're hit, gain 5% damage reduction for 1 turn. Probably don't need to go for it. I'm probably going to be able to replace it with better stuff, but maybe I'll get it before I get the clue. We'll see. All right, I got the Labyrinth Collection. I got another one to drop right when I popped in here. I'm pretty close to getting to 100 of these, so I'll just let it keep running until I get to 100. It's not that big of a grind. It's like a 1 in 3 chance to get usually double the 2, so. All right, I've got my 100 shards. I'll put that item together here. Pop out. This thing is ranged 110, but it's pretty decent stats. It's got an attack. Well, it's got a range strength bonus on it. That might actually be strictly better than the Eris God plate body, not just in damage reduction. Okay. I still have a few more of these guys to kill. They're the ones I should do with magic, so let me re-gear for magic. All right, got my mage setup put together here. I think I'm still completely safe. Damage, bleed, attack interval. Yeah, there's no like stun or anything I have to worry about. I do not need the diamond luck potion, so I'm going to switch to the critical strike potion, since I'm guaranteed to hit with water pulse, which is pretty cool. I think I might also be able to get away with switching to the elusive boots, although I don't know how helpful that is in practice. I'm already hitting so hard that the extra interval doesn't really get to stack very high. I think actually the elusive boots are the way to go because water pulse hits 3 times guaranteed every time, so it's always giving me at least 3 stacks, so it builds up pretty fast. So yeah, I'll just do that. I'm gonna come back to this guy later to get he has a sharp fletching glove. Like I don't need a level fletching anymore, but it reduces the fletching interval in case I have to make anything with fletching while it's capped. I got the labyrinth clue, so I just need one more enemy now, which is the Conda. How bad is the max hit situation here? Fine, although he does stun. I stun for 1 turn, avoidable. I think that stun is fine. His max damage is 3,000. The stun's not really a big deal. Should be okay. Actually, this enemy might be worth AFKing for a long period. He drops, okay, well, 104 magic, that's good. He drops perfect sight legs, the material. I need 100 of these, and it's like a 1 in 30 drop. And I don't get that many kills. So I think if I AFK it for several hours, it'll be enough. And it's a chance to train magic. I want to get magic to 105 because I think once all of my combat stats are at 105 minimum, it'll let me get some more agility obstacles that are pretty useful. So I'll probably end up doing that. I'll just leave it on this guy, and hopefully I'll have enough pieces of this by the time I'm done. Should also have, this is the last labyrinth clue, so I can maybe try the ancient labyrinth when I come back. See you soon. All right, 5.5 hours on this snake. Probably over. Oh, just barely. Perfect timing then. 106 magic is cool. Yeah, I only need 5 more, so I'll just wait until I get them here. But I was worried I was going to way overshoot it. Apparently, that is exactly the right amount of time. Cool. Now that I'm past 105, I can finally switch to this attack interval upgrade, which I already got to 99 mastery. I'm going to have to make some Revenant short bows and Corundum swords, but I'll do that as soon as I finish getting this drop here. Okay, you'll notice I'm back at this thing. I just got the Sharp Fletcher gloves, and I have all 100 of these perfect sight legs. So there we go. Now I've got a nice new pair of ranged pants, and the gloves will be nice, and I have to figure out what I'm doing next. I'm not sure how doable the Ancient Sanctuary is. I should be able to just buy entrance now. It's just this, right? Labyrinth solution. Okay. Let me figure out. I might go do something else for a minute. Like, let me just start running the Stronghold of Dragons really quick. Well, now, hold on. I'm just going to look at all my items and decide what I'm doing. All right, running the dungeon for the first time, I have to pay attention to make sure I have enough DR. I'm using the damage reduction potion. I think I need to get some upgrades. I might need to smith some, like, better armor for better DR. But I think it's okay with the DR potion. We'll see. I had a phone call and wasn't able to talk for a second there, but I've gotten a few clears of this place. It's pretty easy. The clears allowed me to do Legendary Slayer tasks now, which I can't safely completely AFK. But I should be able to do one task at a time. And I think to get the next set of Slayer gear, I only need like 20 clears instead of 40, which is a bit more reasonable. So once I get this run done, I'll look at the drops that I got. I don't think there's anything particularly good that drops from here other than the pet. The pet gives you extra loot doubling, which would be very nice. This is a pretty easy to run dungeon. Okay, I've got 12 ancient chests. I think that's almost everything. I guess I need more of this exploiter cape material. You need 100? And you get, whoa, how many times do I have to run this place? Are they serious? Hold on. Maybe I can just keep running it to try to get that, but need 100 weakness exploiter cape materials. And it's like a 1 in 5 drop from the chest. Is it that good of a cape? Because it... I guess it's reduces enemy damage reduction by 7%, and it has 3% DR on it, which is okay, but I feel like they made a mistake by requiring 100 of these if the only way to get it is from this specific dungeon. I guess if I have to overnight something, I could try to overnight that dungeon. This is kind of a weird set of gloves for making specific potions and herb lore, and then poison lifesteal is essentially useless. But anyway, this large ice troll, I want to fight with magic. So I'm going to try to make some better gear here. I think that I can already start to wear better magic gear. Let me look up what tier I should be using. Hold on. I'm actually going to try to hold out for 110 magic, because then I can only make one set of mage gear. Because these are pretty expensive. They all require these rune stones. And I'm not going to be casting the spells associated with them. I'm probably still going to be using my water staff thing that I got from AOD. I have to think about how I want to do this. I guess something I definitely should do is get the items necessary to get the attack interval reduction here, which is somewhere here. This one. So I need Revenant Shortbows and Corundum Swords. How many exactly do I need? 2,500 Revenant Shortbows, 2,500 Corundum Swords. Okay, that should be doable. Okay, 2,500 Corundum Swords done. Now I'm going to do fletching. I have to do these Revenant Shortbows, which would be kind of annoying, but mostly doable, I think. Let's use the new fletching gloves that I just got. Fantastic. Don't think there's anything I can do to increase the interval. It's only for arrows, sadly. I guess I never actually bought the superior fletching skill cape today. Should speed things up a little bit. Because it's like resource doubling on top of resource doubling. Yeah. All right, I got the items together to get the Revenant Shortbow, this attack interval upgrade. But I think before I take it, once I take it, I'm going to be on it forever, I think, because it's pretty expensive to swap back off of it. So I want to do a little bit of summoning. And by a little bit of summoning, I mean a lot of summoning. I think I'm going to overnight the Lightning Spirit, because the stun effect is really good, and I'd like to just have enough of them that I never have to micromanage that ever again. I need to pick something to overnight, and I'm going to need to do this eventually, so I'm going to do it while I still have the summoning interval bonus. I think there's a cheaper summoning interval thing I can swap to. Yeah, obstacle 6. I just have to remember to swap back off of it, which I'm frequently kind of bad at doing. Okay. Yeah, here we go. We'll see how long I sit here and stare at the screen, because I might not actually fully overnight this. I might just let it run until I have, several 100,000 lightning spirits, but it would still be nice to have a ton of them. Oh, I didn't know this. I thought the passive slot was exclusively a combat thing, but apparently it works for everything else too, so I can technically both have the Crown of Raelix equipped and the Necromancer hat and still have the full set. That's really cool. I wish I would have known that for a little bit of the skilling that I did, but that's extremely helpful. Okay. I was going to say, I don't think I can safely overnight making these lightning spirits, but now I think I can. Pretty sure it's completely safe for me to do now. So I will do that, and then hopefully I'll just have enough of these that can be my main summoning familiar that I use. I think Dragon's still pretty good because Burn is useful, but I might try to transition to only using the ones from the Toth expansion, because I can do Siren plus Lightning Spirit, which makes me resist. The synergy kind of sucks. The synergy is resist, slow, and stun. Who cares? But having a 5% chance to stun, 5% chance to sleep is decent for clear times. All right, it's probably overkill, but I overnighted the Lightning Spirit. Hopefully I have, 3.5 million Lightning Spirits. So that definitely say that that's overkill. I'll be able to use those for the lifetime of the account. Cool. Let me try to fight this troll, I guess, since I can play a little attentively this morning. I don't have to be super attentive. I just need to, switch to another Slayer task when it finishes. So that's melee, so let me get a magic set up together. I said I was going to wait to make the gear, but I think I actually have enough rune stones that I can make a single set of legendary gear. I really just want it for the damage reduction. That's going to be better than the Glacia gear, so I don't know that it particularly matters which of these sets I make. I think they're all basically equivalent. 10. I'll double check the stats on the wiki. Yeah, they're all the same. So I guess I make the poison one because I technically have access to a poison spell now. Probably still not better. Poison pods. Probably not better than that water surge thing that I got. So I would really just be making it for the DR and the core stats. So it would be these 4 items. Try to pump some mastery in them to make them slightly cheaper. So I have the poison gear equipped, and it is just strictly better than the Glacia set. Okay, that's cool. And then I'll have to put together the rest of my gear here. All right, seeing if I am safe from dying here, and I'm going to change some gear out. Okay, none of these attacks look particularly dangerous. It does have Frostburn, which is a little scary. Potentially a little scary. Like my cast time is terrible. Oh, 95% attack interval. That's not great. Can I go somewhere that gives me area effect negation? Yeah. Wow, I really need to pump my negation. I guess they made the Slayer areas in this expansion pretty mean. All right. Well, I think I can get away with wearing more Slayer gear, or at least it seems like it's the assumption that I'm going to be wearing more Slayer gear. That should bring it down to only 15% interval. And I'm still at no risk of getting one shot. I guess these Frostwalker boots are mage upgrade, so that's good that I'm going for those. And I'll just let this run. This task is going pretty well. I'm using the Slayer Bounty Potion, which I forgot that I had. Because this staff always hits. Trying to get my Slayer area negation down is kind of a challenge right now. I can get to 0 using cartography, but it also substantially reduces the number of Slayer coins I need, and I think I need a shitload of Slayer coins. I guess I could technically swap out the Elite Pillar of Expertise to the Pillar of Conflict just for area negation. It is like 35%, which is pretty good, but that alone costs 3 million Slayer coins. The other effects are basically useless. And I like having the 8% doubling chance. So there's a couple other Slayer negation obstacles here. I really, at some point, I need to sit down and just run agility for maybe even a couple days, because there's a bunch of great obstacles that have really bad downsides that I need to get to 99 mastery to cut in half. It feels bad to train agility that much, but I think I'm just going to have to do it. So maybe next time I need to pick something to overnight, I'm just going to overnight agility a couple times to try to max out some of those obstacles. There's the one that's like gives you the diamond luck potion effect all the time. I need to get wherever that one is. It's on here somewhere. Yeah, this guy. I need to cut this 1,000 max hit points penalty in half. Don't really need it right now, though, because magic always hits with this staff. Drop rate on these boots pieces seem pretty good. I just finished the Slayer task, and I need 3 more, so I'll wait until I get them. I guess may as well switch to a different potion if I'm not actually doing a Slayer task here. There we go. That's 100 pieces, so let me put that together. That might actually be better than the poison shit. 110 magic. Okay, well, I can't use them just yet, but they are 12% damage reduction and pretty good magic gear. So I will end up using them eventually, but it's nice to get a drop. Let's try this polar bear that I just got assigned. I think I can still fight that with magic. Be ready to run away in case it can kill me here. He hits a bit harder, but I think even with freeze, I'm safe. Pay attention to it. Did he drop anything? Freezing touch material. Let me Google that. I'm really glad that there's so much cool Slayer gear in this expansion, because like gathering Slayer upgrades is one of my favorite things about RuneScape. Yeah, so it looks like it makes a magic body that's pretty good. Also level 110, so I wouldn't be able to equip it right away. Really interesting. I feel like there's some enemies that have these like need to get 100 pieces to build the item, and the drop rate is super reasonable, and others where it's like insane. This polar bear barely drops. It's like a 1 in 60 to get one of them. Maybe the idea is that it's meant to be a big time sink if you really wanted to collect all of the items from the expansion. I don't know that it's... I mean, it seems like it's a pretty good item. It's a decent magic damage chest piece that gives you a chance to frostburn the enemy. But I don't know that it's like substantially better than the boots, which the game essentially gave to me for free. I don't know. Report on levels too much, but Slayer 110, pretty good. I think that unlocks another agility obstacle. I'll have to double check here. Yeah, it unlocks Gap Climb, which is 15% damage to Slayer monsters, 10% global Slayer coins, 15% flat Slayer area effect negation, but then a penalty to dungeon monsters. So kind of annoying to swap in and out of, given I have to do a lot of dungeons. I guess I can just focus on Slayer for now and plan on swapping out of it in the distant future. Let me check here. This is obstacle 14, right? Currently, I'm not using it all. This waterfall climb is completely irrelevant. I guess it would be not so bad if I got this down to a 10% damage penalty to dungeon monsters, and I could probably just leave it on a lot of the time. I honestly don't know what else I would take here as a permanent upgrade. This seems like the most impactful to have on permanently. Let me run away really quick. Wish that the agility cape was just passive, because I have to remember to swap that every single time, which isn't very fun. Yeah, okay, that's a pretty big discount. Should help a bit. Then we go back to the max cape is what I was using, right? Yeah. Right. And back to this enemy. So that might let me get away with not needing to use this cartography spot. This sucks. Like, I don't like having the 40% Slayer coin penalty is a pain in the ass. I don't want that. If anything, I want a bonus to Slayer coins, right? Can I get that down here? 50% Slayer coins up, but it gives me 20% effect negation. Ugh. Yeah. This at least removes the penalty. So it's only a 15% attack interval penalty, which is maybe more absorbable. I guess depending on the enemy, this ice troll is pretty easy to kill. I only have to hit it twice for it to die. I really have to calculate, like, is it worth the Slayer coins here to also have an even worse attack interval? Maybe I need to make the decision based on what the actual effect is for the Slayer region, right? Like, this is pretty bad, but absorbable. There are other effects that are not absorbable, like, you know, the enemy heals to full every turn if you don't negate the Slayer effect. It's painful and expensive, but I think I should go for this elite pillar of conflict. I don't care about any of these, and I'm going to lose the chance to double items, but 35% flat area effect negation is, like, busted. It's really, really, really good. So I need to get up to 3 million Slayer coins. If I'm going to do that, I really need to commit to just, like, finishing Slayer right now. Because once I'm done with Slayer, I'm going to want to swap off of that forever. Really a tough situation. I think I'm okay to commit to Slayer, because I think most of the Slayer areas that I want to unlock require, like, completing a dungeon one time, you know? There's never like do a dungeon 100 times. Lair of the Spider Queen cleared, not 100 times. So if I decide I'm going to do Slayer, I guess now's the time to do it. It would be great to get to 120 Slayer. That's helpful for a bunch of reasons. The only problem is I can't overnight Slayer anymore because the tasks are too dangerous. But that's probably livable. I can tolerate that. If I'm going to be swapping pillars around, though, I probably want to finish getting this prosperity pillar. Okay, I'm really getting myself into a candy loop here. So let me try to explain what all I'm doing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this prosperity pillar, which means I have to AFK archaeology for a while. After that, I have to go into smithing and make a bunch of divinite bars, and then I need to buy the elite slayer pillar and probably just leave that on until I'm at least 120 Slayer. I mean, maybe I'll continue to do more Slayer after that, but that just seems like that's prudent. Decide I might actually want to make 20,000 Divinite bars, so I have enough bars to get into and out of that pillar, because the current pillar I have gives me an interval bonus for non-combat skills, right? So if I have to make another set of bars in the future, it's going to suck if I don't have the interval bonus anymore. So I think I'm going to finish this Slayer task, go to archaeology, and get the agility pillar upgrade. get Divinite bars, and then come back to Slayer and do basically nothing but Slayer until we do all of the Slayer that's available in the Throne of the Herald expansion. Okay, that's the plan. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. All right, finish the task. I'm definitely going to be re-rolling 420 polar bears. There's way too many polar bears, and they're a lot more annoying to kill than that ice troll. Okay, archaeology. Where was that prosperity statue? Actually, don't remember. I think it was a pretty high level thing, wasn't it? I'm gonna have to Google it. I have like one of the statues. All right, let me Google it. It's from Monuments, and I actually never got it. So this might be kind of a mess because I think it's a legendary drop. I need to get a ton of them. So hopefully I do. But I'm okay to let that run for a bit. Large only, okay. It's also maybe slightly tempting to go ahead and go into cartography and make a better map for a large artifact so I can have a 100% chance, because that should speed things up a bit. And also try to pump the mastery a little bit, but I don't think mastery matters at all until 99. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I've been at this for a while, and I think it's super not worth it. I feel like they screwed up. They should have made it so that there was one of these things I unlocked earlier that was like more prayer points per bone buried or something, and it only required one dark altar, which is really easy to get. This is 10 statues of prosperity, which are legendary. So that might be like overnighting this to be able to get 10 of them, even with doubling and extra resources. And it's only a 10% build cost reduction, which I don't think is very good. Especially if the plan is to switch to this pillar just for Slayer training and then switch off and then never touch pillars ever again after that, right? It's probably actually the way to go. So I think the better strategy than to sit at archaeology here is to, let's see, I need 8,000. I guess it would be 16,000 Divinite bars if I want to be able to switch to it and then back off of it. So I will instead go over to smithing and start making those bars. Okay, I've got 16,000 Divinite bars, which is enough to switch pillars and then switch back. That was what I was going for. So let's go ahead and switch this to the conflict pillar. I need some Slayer coins. I think I have some township tasks I can do to get those real quick. Hold on. Okay, now I can afford to pick this up. It is not super desirable, but that 35% area effect negation is so good. I'm also going to go ahead and take this one, which is more negation, and then I'm going to dump, because the way that mastery works in agility, it only matters when you're building the obstacle. So I can dump my mastery now and go below 95%. I can even go below 50% if I really wanted to, just to make sure I max out the ones that I currently have that have downsides. The bigger downside, I think, is the forest maze. So I'm going to max that one out real quick. Find it. There it is. Max that. And then I don't know if I can also afford to max this guy. This one's already maxed. Where's my other penalties here? That one's already maxed. This is a non-significant downside. Because I guess I could deal with 10% damage penalty to dungeon monsters if I run a dungeon, but 20% is brutal. So I think I'm also going to max gap climb here. Just so I don't have to swap off of that guy if I choose to do a dungeon. I can't quite get, because 50% I need to keep, right? Oh no, actually the only one of these I care about, honestly, is Mastery XP. Okay, I'll just do it. It's okay. And I think my AFK project for tonight is going to be to just AFK agility, to try to build my mastery pool back up so I can master more of these impactful negative side effect upgrades. I probably am eventually going to take the Diamond Luck Potion thing, but I really need that to be cut in half because it's really bad. I'm actually curious, if I dump right now, can I get Waterfall Crossing to 99 as well? Because if so, I think I could swap to it now. Might not be able to. No. Well, I'll go under 25%. I guess now I don't have the build item cost reduction, so I would need to actually run the course to get that before I switch to it. Otherwise, it's a pretty expensive swap. Although, let me check. Like, this is, I guess it only costs Diamond Luck Potions and Wormtail Herbs, which is significant, but not the biggest deal. The Global Slayer Coins penalty kind of sucks, so... All right, I think I'm happy with my current situation here. Let me get back to Slayer, I guess. Okay, now I can do the Dark Waters and still have 0% Slayer area effect. I guess I need to have this equipped for that to work, but pretty sick because it gives a really substantial, it's like plus 50% Slayer coins, and the max hit and evasion bonuses are great too. Not that I need accuracy with this combat style. But this is really cool. I can have the penalty to area effect negation and still have no area effect. Still doing Slayer here, fighting Manticores now, which are pretty easy, it looks like. First time fighting this dragon. It's actually really interesting because as soon as you get to the legendary Slayer tasks, all of them are melee except for one. So you could almost do automatically fight new Slayer task with magic, but the one that's magic will delete you. It does like 8,000 damage per hit in this magic damage reduction gear. So I can't AFK it. I have to babysit it, but it's okay. I don't have to get that many clears. Like even just working on it this morning, yeah, I've already done 6 tasks. So I think getting the legendary gear is pretty reasonable. Really have to start banking the Slayer coins though, because 5 million coins per legendary piece. So if I want to get it on all the combat styles, I need 30 million. More if I want to have extra copies of some of the pieces of gear to use as the passive slot if there's another dungeon that requires me to swap between Slayer stuff like Impending Darkness. There might not be. Impending Darkness might be the only thing that's like that where you actually have to have like 6 of everything. Well, you have to have a copy of everything and then an extra copy of each of the helmets, essentially. So I'm going to try to dodge having to do that and just have a copy of everything. All right, stepping away for stream, and I think with the way that mastery works, I don't need to affect the interval at all because the mastery gain directly goes down the shorter your interval is. So I'm okay to just have like an insanely long interval here. I don't really care. I guess theoretically, to do this efficiently, I should switch some of these obstacles out for lower mastery ones. But I'm just going to try to build my pool back up to 95%. That's why I'm going to let this run. Come back and update. I guess I didn't think about this, but although the amount of mastery I gain doesn't change with interval, the number of mastery tokens I get does change with interval. And so if I'm gonna overnight this, I probably need to like move things around to minimize my interval. I wasn't even using like anything from here to reduce it. Because if I can minimize the interval, then I get a bunch of these tokens, and the tokens count for a lot. So I'm going to have to run this for a long ass time to be able to swap things again, but probably okay. Yeah, I feel like I barely got anything from letting it run here. I guess some of these leveled up quite a bit, which is nice, but a lot of the ones that are leveling up I don't really care about. Like only the ones that are red matter, and the ones that are red I already have the 99. All right, well, it's kind of an expensive lesson. It cost me 4 hours of time to learn that, but I'll try to retain it. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to doing Slayer. Finally got a non-melee task. It's this Ice Wolf that would fuck me up if I was playing as mage. It's going to fuck me up if I'm playing as... Holy shit, that attack hits for like 6,000. Do I have any way to further decrease my damage taken? I guess I could make hardwood armor. I'm going to have to. He's about to hit me like a fucking truck there. Okay, Elderwood is level 100. Revenant gear is level 105, so I can use that. So let's do Revenant chaps. And then, oh, I don't get any boots, do I? The Van braces are kind of unnecessary, and I can't do a shield. Let's do the chaps. Upgrade into Revenant U. Pretty expensive. That should be almost strictly better. Plus 2% additional damage reduction. So where else can I squeeze in damage reduction here? I mean, I guess I don't need to wear the full Slayer kit. That's a pretty substantial reduction in DR to have these two things on. I could drop this for this. Let's see if that gets me there. $51.02. Okay. So I'm not getting one shot anymore. Do have all of my Slayer equipment on. Mostly just because of these pants. Summons clones that attack you, but he doesn't stun you, crucially. I really don't want to have this prayer on if I can avoid it. Let me see what happens if I toggle it off here. I die. Okay. All right. Well, this bow is so amazing and it does so much damage with Eradicate and Malice that it almost doesn't really matter to not have the other prayer turned on. It does have a pretty high damage reduction by default. I guess the reason this guy is so nasty is because his Intimidate effect really reduces your DR, which kind of sucks. Look to see, I've got this gear, like this would be a pretty big upgrade. It's another 2% DR, but I have to get to 110 range to use it. And I don't think I've found any boots yet. I need to clean up my bank, obviously. It's kind of a mess. Magic. I guess I could wear this just for the DR. Doesn't have a ranged bonus on it, but it's not that big of a deal because the range damage bonus I have in my existing boots isn't particularly amazing. I'll putz around with it and try to figure it out. Or I could just, I mean, it's not that long of a task, so I could just deal with having this kind of shitty Holy Aegis thing turned on. Oh, this is kind of cool. There are Slayer pets. So I got a Warm Snowflake for the Lava Lake Slayer area. 10% damage taken from burn. Not super helpful, but kind of neat. Just hit 110 magic, which is kind of a ridiculous level. Look at all this shit you unlock. That's insane. I think I already have some of this mythical gear from earlier. Just the robes. All right, well, I can quickly pop out of here and make the pants and the boots because they're better than my current pants and boots. Probably just continue to do poison for now. Really quick. Make sure I pump them a bit here to not use unnecessary resources. Pants and boots. I guess we can also pick up the hat and the robes because that might still come up. Or I guess the robes I already have. Okay. Might come up for later content. So mythical boots. Oh, I should wear the crown. Shit. Hat. Bottoms. Still have a robe from when I did that township task forever ago. Okay. So let me equip the boots and pants. There we go. Now my damage reduction should be a little bit better. Switch this back to this guy. 9%. Okay. Back to the Manicore. I need to do one more Legendary Slayer task to finish up here. I'm not going to have enough coins to get all the upgrades right away, so I'm probably going to have to continue doing tasks, even Legendary tasks, just to get coins, but it should be faster once I have the better gear. Yeah, just AFKing the Manicore right now. Oh, I skipped the kill here with my Slayer Bounty Potion. I think we're done now. I'm going to pick up... I guess we should get the Mage gear first, right? Mage isn't my favorite combat style because of the rune costs, but right now my Legendary tasks are all Mage tasks anyway, so it probably makes the most sense to get that one first. Real expensive. Let's get 2 of those. Okay, let's go ahead and upgrade... Have them in this tab, yeah. Upgrade item. Go, upgrade item. Beautiful. And that's another 4% damage reduction. It's actually It's 8% extra damage reduction. That's significantly better than the master tier. It goes from 6% to 10% each. And eventually I'll have to upgrade this too so that I can be running 3 items at the same time. I can't AFK Slayer overnight. That's not going to work. So instead, I'm going to pick some other activity. What I probably need to do, something I've been putting off for a while, I'm going to run out of prayer points, and I don't want to keep using Slayer coins on prayer resupplies. So I think I'm going to pick... These guys has prayer idols. Yeah, small... do small artifacts here. Just going to let this run overnight, and hopefully they'll give me enough prayer idols to get a substantial number of prayer points.
All right, overnighting got me almost 11,000 prayer idols. I realize now that I'm actually really close to being able to do a alt magic spell that's gonna basically permanently solve prayer for me. So I probably didn't need to do this, but that's okay. That's a lot of prayer points. So 10 million prayer points should tide me over for a while. I don't really regret doing that at all. And I'm at 99 mastery on this, which is nice. All right, let me stop excavating. We're going to get back to... I need to get Slayer coins to get the other legendary Slayer unlocks. So I don't think I can take a mythical Slayer task. I think the only mythical Slayer task that I have access to would completely delete me right now until I get like way more damage reduction. So I'm just going to keep doing legendary. Checking my pets. I realize I still don't have the Slayer pet or the magic pet. Both of those would be really nice. The Slayer pet's like plus 20% Slayer coins or something. So if you get it super early, that's great. If you get it past level 112, that's a little bit less great. All right, I'm up to 5 million coins again, so I'm going to buy the ranged helmet so I can equip it here for a little bit better stats. I am going to need to get a ranged gear set, I think, if I'm going to do mythical tasks eventually, because I think the one task I can do mythical is magic, so I have to fight it with ranged. So we get another legendary upgrade kit, and we go over here. Upgrade item. Done. Cool. Let me put in the passive slot. All right, very good. It's a pretty substantial amount of Slayer area effect negation. Sorry, I didn't clear my throat all morning. That's a lot of Slayer area effect negation. It's like 75% just from these 3 items. So halfway there, since the default is 150% now. So 75% from those 3. This gets me to 100%. Maybe a little careful with these explorers maps. I'm going to run out of them eventually. And then I guess the extra 50% is coming from agility. I have 35, 40, and then 2 instances of 15, 70, and then minus, so that's 170% minus 20%. That's how I'm able to be at this amount. I think running Dark Waters is still really good despite the area effect negation reduction. It's a huge increase in the number of Slayer coins per kill, like 8,400. That's pretty awesome. All right, back up to 5 million coins. I'm going to get the ranged body. Then I'm going to check and see if I can do a mythical Slayer task. I probably can't, but... So, upgrade to legendary. Go. Upgrade item. Done. Okay, so I now have a total of 4 pieces. I need to get another 10 million Slayer coins to upgrade the melee gear. All right, I finished the Slayer task I was working on. I'm going to try to assemble my gear together here to see if I can have enough damage reduction to fight this specific enemy, the Ice Hydra. Probably don't, but I'm going to try to just maximize that. So damage reduction potion, and then everything else that I can get that gives me DR. Okay, so I'm able to pump my range DR to 89%, which seems like a lot. Let me do mythical here. I think it can only roll the Ice Hydra, which would be great if I actually am able to fight it safely. This looks fine. I think he can still freeze me, which would be bad. I might still have some options to get slightly better DPS here.
But let me try to watch the damage values here to make sure that I'm completely safe. He gives me minus 20% damage reduction. Yeah, because now I just want to do 20 Mythical Slayer tasks. And if this is the only thing that I can fight, then I can set automatically fight new Slayer task and be completely fine. Let me make sure that that's actually going to be safe, though. All right, really fucking up this thing. This is going just fine. I've got plenty of damage reduction potions to sustain it, plenty of arrows, plenty of explorer's maps. So all I need to do now is just stay on the task until it completes and see if it automatically gives me another ice hydrant task. Because if it does, that should be how it works. Then I can just hit automatically fight and AFK this and be golden. So this is interesting. You cannot repeat the same task back to back. If you try and you select mythical here, it says no available Slayer tasks found. Try a different tier of task. So you have to have at least two. So you can't just idle the same monster over and over. Well, it was worth finding that out, I guess. I'll need to get 19 mythical tasks later. I need to go. I have to get ready for stream here soon, so let me find an activity that I can AFK. What I'll probably end up doing then is just moving through the dungeons to unlock the next available Slayer task. I think what I want to get, not ideal for me to do summoning right now because my interval is high, but I want a boatload of witch tablets and a boatload of centaur tablets. For depending on what combat style I'm doing. I think I'm going to start with centaur because I'm doing a lot of range training right now. So let's see. I have a lot of any of these. Oh, I don't. I'd have to make a bunch of bows, which I don't want to do. I don't want to sit around and make bows. Okay. What else can I do that would be helpful? Let me stare at the screen and think about this. I honestly can't come up with anything definitively useful that wouldn't require me to change all of my agility obstacles. So I'm just going to do Veil. This is the thing I still have to do. I have to AFK this for like a bunch of hours to get the 99 mastery. The reason this is worth doing is because interval bonuses don't affect mastery gain at all, because astrology, you basically never get mastery tokens, unlike agility. So the other thing I could do is I could run agility to try to max my mastery pool back out. But I think that just studying Veil is probably the way to go. If my sole intent here is to just get it to 99 mastery to get the last couple stars that I'm missing, I'm just going to do that. All right, I let astrology run for like 4 hours, got to the level 5 owl synergy, which means now I can technically get the astrology interval down, but more than a little late for that. I am at 100% mastery, which is useless to me. Pump all of this into something here. I need 50% even. I don't need any of that, so I think I just want to dump all of it. I do one more, then I lose the mastery bonus, which is probably not worth it. I'm pretty close to just maxing up Cilia. It's just this is so slow. I think if I overnight it, it should get done. And then maybe I'll have enough mastery that I can dump into Cilia and then never touch it again. Because I won't actually be gaining any of these things. They would never want to manually train this skill again. Yeah, I'll leave it where it is so I don't lose the bonus. And then hopefully after I let it go, those will just both be mastered and I can max them out quickly. I had to set an alarm on my phone to make sure I didn't do overkill with astrology, so I clicked off to switch to summoning to make dragon tablets because they seem pretty globally useful. Astrology, I think, should be done now in theory. If I pump Cilia, can get to 99. This will use the rest of my mastery, but now we have 100% mastery in astrology. Probably never touch it again. So this could have been nice to have before all the combat I did, but it doesn't really matter because all the combat I've done has been with the shrimp, the 1.5 million shrimp I got from Food Box 1. Basically have never swapped off of it. So part of the reason I delayed doing this for so long is that it like didn't matter at all. I got a phone call there. This is the last thing to build. Yeah, okay. So now I have mastered everything and maxed out everything. So took a long time to just finish up astrology there, but I don't have to touch it ever again. I guess now
I need to find some combat stuff that I can overnight because there's increasingly few things that are worth overnighting and skilling without changing all of my agility obstacles to allow for that. So I'm probably going to stare at the screen a bit. I need to unlock um, this guy, the Foggy Lake. Requires me to clear the lightning region and buy the Linden boat. Okay. Lightning region is, it says lightning region cleared. Is that supposed to be a dungeon? Okay, it must be after Underground Lava Lake. I'll try to piece all that together. Okay, I think I have a gear setup that's completely safe to run the Underground Lava Lake. I'm just going to double check a couple things real quick. Should be completely fine, I think. I do think I want the Ice Walker boots are a little bit better on damage reduction than this poison gear. Okay. So I'm going to babysit it for my first clear here. I should check to see if this place has a pet. Probably does. At Harry, 1 in 150. All enemies have minus 2% damage reduction. I might need to AFK this dungeon just to get that. Let me make sure that it's completely safe to AFK, but it might be. And try using this fervor scroll because I think having this life steal really increases the chance that I'm going to be above 75% hit points. Makes the life steal a little bit less bad if it kind of equates to a damage reduction penalty. I think the only enemy who's really a risk in here, there's a magic enemy that I won't have the combat triangle bonus against. I'm going to watch for that. Yeah, the magic fire demon looks like it's still completely safe because it doesn't stun you at all. It just burns you. But I have immunity to burn from the yak, so I might have to make a bunch more yak tablets so that I can truly AFK this place. Also drops a blazing helmet that looks like it's pretty decent, and a heated fury two-handed hammer, which I don't know if it even begins to compete with the Ultima God Sword. All right, I made it to the boss for the first time. None of his attacks look particularly scary. Word of Flame reflect damage is a little scary. 25%. I don't think my attacks hit as hard. Like 3,200. Okay, that's isn't enough to kill me, but it is a little scary. Burning chest. Yeah, the thing we want from the burning chest, there's two uniques, a helmet and a hammer. And so I'm gonna need ranged 110 for the next dungeon to equip some more stuff to give me more damage reduction. So I think I'm gonna kill this guy and then try to find a Slayer task to train ranged on. They really need lots of Slayer coins anyway. I got a sub out of mythical, sadly. Problem is, the vast majority of what I can fight here is not fightable with ranged, but I guess I'll just get started on it. I mean, coins are coins. All right, so I need to step away for a bit to get breakfast. I'll get back on Slayer whenever I'm able to be attentive to the game. I think I'm going to run the Stronghold of Dragons with ranged, because I still need to get the Superior Sigil from that, and that will be a way to train ranged. And so I get about 6 clears per hour with ranged, and pretty good ranged XP, 1.2 mil per hour. That'll get me there eventually. No drops, but I'm just gonna let it run. I think that's probably the way to go here, since I just want to train the skill. I think at some point, what it makes sense to do is just go back to every stronghold and just AFK until I have 3 of every superior sigil. Because I hate not using the gear switching. I'm hoping Melvor 2 makes it so that you can have the same item across multiple equipment sets without having to have multiple copies of it. I think requiring the extra copies isn't super interesting. But I guess we'll see. Something I really need to do, I just need to go ahead and do this waterfall crossing that makes it so that the Diamond Luck Potion is always in effect. Like the 500 max hit points down is pretty nasty, but I just need to take it and just start building around that from now on. I think that the DR situation is acceptable, that I can always have this active, because all the other potions are so much more valuable, right?
I could even just use the 10% DR potion and still have the diamond luck effect. So I think I'm going to try to, after this current stronghold run, I'm going to pop out and do Slayer for a little bit to get enough coins to afford it, and then I'm hopefully going to select it and then forget it. Just leave it on forever, because I don't think any of these other ones even like start to compete. I guess the increased auto eat threshold is kind of okay, but I don't think it competes with this. It's too good. There's 110 ranged. I can now equip a couple new things. I can get my Divine Arrow stack, which I have 2.5 million of those, so that's really nice. The big one, though, is the Perfect Sight Legs and the Bundled Protection Body are better DR than what I was using. That's the main reason I came here, was to train range really quick. So I might, after this run, said I'm going to get Slayer coins to get that permanent Divine Luck Potion effect. But I think before I do that, I'm going to try to clear the Lightning region, which you do with ranged. Okay, I think I'm geared up to be able to handle the Lightning region. Let me just check a couple things real quick. I think we're good. Here we go. This guy, no risk. I have 95% damage reduction. Wow. Do I get intimidated coming in here? Minus 10% is all that affects. There's got to be something in here that's like a risk, right? I guess the mage ones are probably no problem. Lightning Monkey is melee, and he is substantially more frightening, but still not a risk. I think the problem is they have a chance to apply shock, which reduces my damage reduction, stacks up to 10 times. So I guess I need to operate on the assumption that whatever my listed damage reduction is actually 20% lower because of that effect. Probably don't want to mess with it too much here. It's likely I don't need this Guardian Amulet. That might be just overkill. Lightning Golem is able to stun you, but otherwise doesn't seem particularly dangerous. Final boss is Mage, and it looks like he's a total non-threat because of Combat Triangle putting me up to 95% damage reduction. Even with him being able to stun you in a couple different ways, not really a problem at all. I probably am going to farm this dungeon at some point, but I'm just trying to unlock things right now. His region effect's kind of annoying, though. Okay. That's one clear. That's what we came here for. Probably nothing interesting in the chest. Lightning Amulet. Reflect damage, chance to ignore. I think you eventually combine this with the Frost Amulet. You gotta get 5 of each. And then slightly more interesting when combined with the boots and the sword. So maybe we put that together eventually. But having done that, now unlocks the Foggy Lake, but I have to buy the Linden Boat, and the Linden Boat costs 3 million Slayer coins. But I also need to spend Slayer coins on getting the Waterfall Crossing permanent Diamond Luck Potion. So I'm going to go back to do Slayer a bit. I'm going to get that Agility Obstacle and then save up Slayer coins for the Linden Boat. Decent trick here with the Water Pulse Staff. It stuns like most of the time. Most of the time it hits, it inflicts stun. And then I have the Cyclops Synergy that causes damage dealt while stunned to be turned into Slayer coins. I think that's pretty substantially increasing the number of coins I get per kill. I'm just here to get coins, so good way to do it. Just got 112 magic, which is an important level because I can do the Holy Invocation thing now, which I think permanently solves prayer. I won't have to run archaeology ever again. Okay, now have enough Slayer coins to be able to buy the Linden Boat. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now I should be able to do Mythical Slayer. So I need to save up some points to be able to, I need 100,000 coins to get to Mythical Slayer. And I think I have to alternate between a melee fight and I think it's ranged fight. So I guess I got to camp this for a little bit longer because I have to get the legendary melee gear, which is going to take a minute. I need 10 million coins for that. And I also still need to pick up the Waterfall Crossing, the permanent Diamond Luck Potion. It's not helpful for Mage, which is why I haven't picked it up already, because I already can't miss with the staff. I try to do it anyway because I theoretically should be getting more Slayer coins from the mythical tasks anyway. So I think the objective here is if I'm using melee, just use this Slayer gear. Like, yeah, it doesn't have a melee strength bonus on it, but the ultimate God Sword hits so hard. Like, who cares, right? Just use the existing magic Slayer gear until we can upgrade it. I mostly just need it for the DR. It's also tempting to do the Lair of the Spider Queen because the loot I get from this lets me make a new kind of summoning tablet, which I want to have anyway because then I have a chance to level it up whenever I'm doing regular combat. But also, I think the spider tablet is like really good. It has like excellent synergies with other things. So let me look into what I need to do to at least get one clear here. Oh, and Lair of the Spider Queen has a pet that reduces attack intervals, so that seems pretty important. Okay, so actually it looks like the Spider Queen is really hard because she has a random combat style and so do all of the ads in the dungeon. So just being able to idle it's not very easy. I'll do it eventually, but I don't think I have time to pay that much attention to it right now. So instead, I'll probably just try to do Mythical Slayer like I was saying. All right, let me see if my gear is adequate here to do this enemy without getting deleted. Okay, so damage values seem okay. Sleep is bad, but isn't making the damage values too high that it's untenable. Probably am able to do this and change out some of my gear so I'm doing a bit more DPS. Player takes 45% damage while asleep. That's even with all of my stacking. I need to look up like what's the default Slayer area negation rules here. Wait for this guy to put me to sleep so I can see exactly how bad it is. Drops pieces of a crossbow that seem kind of useful. Giant bubble. Sleeping doesn't get me in death range at the moment. Okay. Yeah, I'll putz around and pick different gear to make this a little bit better. I just have to figure out what to use. Takes more damage was asleep was happening because I didn't have my my Slayer gear. Yeah, this is completely fine. I would like to get the melee Slayer gear for the stat bonuses, but I think that I'm hitting just fine right now without it. Given that my gear is becoming, my setups are increasingly less dependent on having specific bonuses to different stats that I could just kind of go in with a generic setup that's focused on damage reduction. I might try the Spider Queen lair anyway. I probably still need to get some extra DR from like prayers and from the DR potion, but it might be possible. I guess I'll watch it carefully and run away if it looks like my health is low, but I do want to at least start getting spider, right? Yeah, I'd like to start being able to level up the marks. Whenever I'm in range or magic, I could be getting marks all the time. So if I can just run it one time, that would be enough for that to be possible. So I'm going to try to put a kit together for that here shortly. I'm going to try to do it with ranged. I think, well, I guess I could also do it with water pulse staff since it always hits. That's pretty nice. I like the engulfing vortex longbow. But I guess the majority of my gear aligns a little bit better with this one. And if this has a magic attack penalty, who cares, right? Because I can't miss. And we'll give it a shot. I'll be ready to run away if the numbers look bad. I think it's just the boss who's a risk. 5234 is my eating threshold. Okay. Yeah, I think the way it works is every single spider you fight is completely random. You get spiders from all different combat styles. So I guess in theory you could like intentionally try to swap between styles every time. But obviously I like to avoid that if I can get away with not having to do it. Minus 20% DR just for coming in here kind of sucks though. Exit 3870 is already a little spooky. Do they do anything else that further debuffs my DR? I don't think so. I guess what I can do to quickly swap styles is just click between these three things based on what I'm currently fighting, right? So I'm just trying to watch if that actually ends up being required. Probably required on the Spider Queen. maybe not required in anything else. Trapper Spider so far is the most dangerous thing with a 3870 max hit. Scratch that, the Enforcer Spider is much nastier with a 4545 max hit, but still safe from dying. Definitely extremely slow running it this way. I think if you wanted to do this quickly, you'd want to do it like it's Into the Mist or whatever and constantly change combat styles. We're on the penultimate spider here, so I'm just going to record. So click over in case I have to quickly switch my weapon. I guess if it's melee, that's great. If it's range, that's bad, and I have to switch to the God Sword. Be ready to swap between these. If I keep running the dungeon manually, maybe I'll just manually swap between these every single fight just to see if that speeds things up significantly. Use magic, so we want to be ranged. It's for 5200, which doesn't kill me. That means that if she rolled range, I would almost certainly die, right? Let's switch to range, which makes her much more tolerable. Yeah, I don't think I can idle this, even with very high damage reduction. I'm guessing if she were ranged for this fatal bite, I would get, like, annihilated. I really need to pick up that automatic diamond luck potion, though, because, like, might even be faster on mage, given that I miss with most of my hits here. I really need to get the one kill. Caught in the web, interval down, life steal sucks, lead sucks, attack interval penalty sucks. I don't think she does anything that like stuns me though and makes her fatal bite nastier. Of your max hit points. He looks cool. I like how much nastier she is than the Spider King. It was always kind of weird that that early dungeon was the Spider King. Which to, I think, burn here might make a difference. Oh, it doesn't do very much damage. All right, well, at least I know I can do multi-combat dungeons like this by just kind of having a DR set up and then just swapping my weapon. It is kind of weird that your weakness is based on what weapon you have equipped. That's how RS3 works as well, but whatever happens when you hard code in that shit. All right, 1,300 Spider Queen eggs. I'm going to just make those into spider tablets real quick. Me maximize everything here. What we want is for the Necromancer hat to be the passive slot. Yeah. 62%. It's not too bad. And can I pump it a little bit? It would be too expensive. All right, I'm just going to let it go and make a bunch of these. Chance to apply slow, chance to apply poison. And then I think it has a bunch of really, really good synergies. Looking at some of these synergies, it looks like there's one with Cyclops. I'd have to get Spider to mark level 4. But it gives you 200% of poison damage dealt as gained as Slayer coins, which seems like a really great way to get lots of Slayer coins. If I can stack a bunch of other poison things, so that might be a thing I try to go for. I don't have preservation or other things to make like 20k spider tablets, so that's cool. I'll probably throw those on and then go fight something just to try to pump it up. All right, finally pulling the trigger on Waterfall Crossing. I'm probably just going to leave it up and pretend like I don't have that HP penalty. I don't think it'll be affordable to swap off of it a lot in the future. I think also once the twin sea dragon serpent is way more annoying to fight than the other option, which is the ice hydra. And since there's only 2, I could do Slayer and then just pay 100k to reroll the task whenever the task is complete. That's probably the most efficient way to go about doing this. Hey, so I needed to AFK and I decided to go ahead and AFK the Stronghold of Dragons, and I got the Dragon Enhancement Superior, finally. Okay, no. actually got this one under rate. I went over rate on every other superior sigil. So I'm going to eventually want to get 3 copies of all of these for gear sets, I think. And it's a decent thing to AFK because it doesn't really cost a lot of resources for me to do. I might stay here for a bit. We'll see. I think switching to this stacking chance to apply burn is quite a bit more useful than the stacking evasion rating from the magic enhancement superior. So if I'm not doing magic, I don't need the rune preservation. I'm probably going to use this instead, just because that effect is pretty decent. Yeah, so I think the strategy here is, since I only have 2 Slayer tasks and the Ice Hydra one is way easier than the other one, basically just do the task and then re-roll it, and I'll always get an Ice Hydra since it can never repeat the same task. So I just have to pay 100k points after every task completion, but that's okay because I get way more than that. I get like 1.8 mil per task, possibly more depending on how long it is. So I'm just gonna keep doing this. I'll try to keep an eye on it and re-roll it frequently. I did a couple hours last night of Mythical Slayer before I had to go to bed. Ended up just leaving it on this wolf enemy. Hit points 118, range 116, Slayer 116. I get marks of the spider. I only got like 5. Pretty slow going. Access to new equipment there that I don't think really competes with my Vortex longbow. And this was the main reason I was doing this. I think I eventually need 5 copies of the sword. Make one of them now. I can upgrade again, but I need 5 copies. So technically now, let me do all the upgrades I can. I have 3. I almost have 4, and then I'll get a 5th one. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot of overnighting specific Slayer mobs like this if I want to be able to get some of the end game gear. But now that I'm able to pay attention to the game again, I'm going to re-gear up and go back to this Ice Hydra. Hopping in and out on this task here, not being perfect with swapping off and getting another one as soon as I hit a task completion, but trying to get as close as possible. I still need 12 more tasks. And it looks like Mythical tends to give you big tasks. Like I haven't gotten any like, straight up 70 Hydras. This is the middle of like a 400 kill task or something. I'm probably going to be above range 120 by the time this grind is done. So it's tempting to like switch to something else because range is not the best thing to train defense with, since I would miss out on 0.4-second attack interval from being on rapid. I could justify training defense on magic once I hit 120, but probably not ranged. So yeah, once I hit 120, I might reassess what I'm doing here, but I think just AFKing it, getting more of my skills to 120 would be good. It would make more future content easier to approach. All right, I let this run for a chunk of the day. This doesn't summarize all of my progress so far. Slayer 119. Reroll this task. Oh, that's a great one. I don't think I get the really short tasks at all. I've just been really unlucky in that regard. I haven't really been able to reroll because it's too expensive and I have to save all my points. So I need to do 8 more mythical tasks to get this, and then I can move on to something else. I might let this one go, re-roll it, and then do overnight something else. I might just overnight that wolf again, honestly. This guy, the Spectral Ice Wolf, because I need to get 5 swords anyway, and it'll probably get me to 120 range. Actually, really close to 120 range and 120 hit points, and decently close to 120 Slayer. Right on. I think once I hit those, I need to finish getting 120 everything so I can get the superior max cape. Theory, I should be done with the Spirit Wolf here. Should be 9 hours of fighting that specific guy. Yeah, hit points 120, range 120. That's pretty cool. We'll get my Mark of the Spider level ups. Cool. Let me all of these guys. I think that's all that I needed now, right? It might be a little bit of overkill. Yeah, I got 1 extra one, but that's fine. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to doing my tasks here. Switch back to the damage reduction potion. I think I want the extra Slayer coins from Magic Slayer tasks. Just be able to let this go until I finish Mythical Slayer. Okay. I checked in on my phone and missed 120 Slayer. Or 120 Slayer. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to try to pull defense now. I know I said I didn't want to do it with the range, but it's not actually slowing my kills that much. And I'd rather be getting XP for something that matters as opposed to XP for something that's already maxed. 120 Slayer early is going to be really good because as I go through the zones, eventually there's a bunch of really annoying areas where you have to use like consumables, like these Mystic Lanterns and Slayer Torches, and I think the 120 Slayer Cape lets me avoid having to do that. Got a little bit to play attentively here, so I'm going to back off the Ice Hydra for a minute to go do more of the Spider Queen dungeon. One, I want to get the weapon that drops from there because it seems like it might actually be a melee weapon that's better than the Ultima God Sword. But two, I want to make more spider tablets so that I can level up that familiar faster. Because right now it's going real slow. I'm only at rank 3. I'm not even halfway to having all the marks. And it seems like the good stuff you get from spider, all the good synergies are at a really high level. So let me try to gear up to do that. I think the plan is to just go in with as much DR as possible and then just swap my weapon based on whatever I'm fighting. And I won't record. You already saw me do a run of it, so I'll just report what the drops are. Probably don't need to do too many clears here, just trying to get enough eggs to start with. I could try to make the Frostspark Amulet and the Frostspark one-handed sword now that I have the Spectral Ice Sword. That involves running, what is it, the Lightning Region a few times to get 5 of each of those to combine, because I've got plenty of the other items I need to combine all of that together. I don't know if that's going to be a good transitional weapon into getting the Lair of the Spider Queen weapon, but maybe it's worth going for. Yeah, things are a little scary. If I switch to melee here, it's 5200 max hit, and I have 5241 auto eat threshold at 120 hit points, so not super trivial, turns out. I'll do a few runs just to get enough eggs that I've got plenty of spider tablets, I think is the idea. Right, this is my 9th clear, so I'll do 10 just to have 10 done. Then I'll probably go back to the Lightning region and AFK that for a while to try to get all the pieces I need to put the Frostspark together. I guess there's a township task that I didn't notice for defeating the Spider Queen 10 times. It gets me a bunch of Slayer coins. I don't know that I can actually use these. Can I equip these? It lets me equip them. That's interesting. But I don't think I'm allowed to earn the tablet, am I? I have to have crafted one? Like, just having one isn't good enough? I'm probably going to use these all the time once I'm able to craft them, but there's a pretty high level Slayer area to be able to craft Spectre tablets, so not something that's going to be available to me anytime soon. All right, so I have like 19,000 spider eggs. That should probably last a long time with preservation and all that other fun stuff. Let me make sure that I have this guy equipped in my passive slot. And I'm just going to sit here and make a bunch of these for a few minutes. All right, exhausted my spider eggs. I have how many of these tablets now? 246,000. That's pretty good. All right, I'm going to gear back up, and I think I'm just going to AFK the Lightning region for the duration of my stream, and hopefully that's enough to get enough copies of all the items I need to move forward here. Should be pretty doable, I think. I think I'm completely safe to just idle this. I guess it might be slightly dangerous if the monkey gets 20 stacks, or I guess 10 stacks of shock on me, but I think that it's almost impossible for that to happen because my chance to hit is so high and my DPS is so high that like something would really, it's like astronomically unlikely. Probably actually physically impossible, especially with the engulfing vortex bow firing 10 times. Like it's so many potential rolls. I'll show you here once I pull up on a monkey. Because, like, its base damage isn't too bad at 3870. The problem is that it potentially builds up enough shock stacks that that number gets up to 5,000. But even at 2 shock stacks, it's nowhere close. So, and you see it just gets deleted by the vortex longbow. So I think we're completely okay. All right, so I guess I got 135 lightning region clears, which seems pretty good. Let's see what all I got in terms of loot. Enough. More than enough? The lightning aura helmet's pretty good, right? It has 12% DR, so if I'm just focused on DR, that's not too bad. So we upgrade this. How many Frostwalker boots am I sitting on? I thought I had a bunch of them. Am I crazy? I thought I had a ton of Frostwalker boots. Hold up. Am I not actually done as much? I have, one of them is equipped. That's why. Okay, let me get this clear. We can take the boots off. Here we go. All right, unequip. So we do upgrade ×1, and then we do upgrade ×1. I have to get my attack to 110 to be able to use this. And then we do upgrade ×1. So I technically have this set. I just have to get attack to 110. So maybe I'll try to find something to overnight. Can pound out attack levels here. I don't think this staff is very good. I mean, 24,000 avoidable damage that can sometimes stun doesn't really compete with you can always hit, you know. So I'm gonna try to pick something to do here. Let's do like maybe go for the Stronghold of Dragons pet, because I still don't have the pet there. All right. I ended up getting attack 112. My objective was to get attack 110. Got another Superior Dragon enhancement, so it'll be nice if I swap stuff. It actually is letting me level up Mark of the Spectre, which is really interesting. I guess that means that just having the tablet is enough, not necessarily crafting the tablet. Okay. I don't know if I want to be running this stronghold forever. I mean, the main reason for coming in here is to get the pet, right? Getting a third, getting 3 sigils everywhere would be really nice. Right now, I'm just trying to gain some levels to qualify to equip some of my gear. I think that training defense is actually faster with range right now. If I do range with the engulfing longbow and then do long range for defensive XP, even though it's split between range and defense. Melee just kind of sucks right now. I might try it with, if I do, here we can equip this now, the Frostbark sword. Right. I need to pick a shield, hold on. Might end up being faster than the UGS just because the attack speed is so crazy fast, so I'll leave it on defense for a bit and just try to see what the XP rate is. All right, I think I've got a good solution here. I probably should have equipped this before I went to bed. The Merman Pendant is good. It feels like it would be bad to use with the UGS because the UGS is so based on having really overpowered special attacks. The special attack's pretty good, but not as overpowered. So using the Merman Pendant gets my attack interval down really fast and gets my XP rate better than doing it with the Engulfing Longbow. So probably my preference to level it this way. Now that I know that I can continue to get Spectre marks, I'm just going to equip that until I run out of them. Just trying to get that leveled up as far as I can. I might, after this run, switch to the Stronghold of the Gods because the pet reward is better there than it is from the Stronghold of Dragons. This one is 2% damage to bosses, which is okay, but this is 2% damage to everything, which is better. And that's probably the one that's most important for me to have 3 copies of the Superior Sigil, since it actually affects my DR. Everything else is just kind of like quality of life, kind of DPS stuff, but just in case there are more bosses that I have to swap combat styles on, it would be nice to be able to have that locked in on all of them and never have to remember to unequip and re-equip it. I think this will get even faster once I hit defense 110, because then if I equip the Frostspark boots and the necklace and maybe move the Merman Pendant into the passive slot, it's a pretty substantial interval reduction and DPS increase. All right, I just got Mark of the Spider level 4, which lets me do some shenanigan with getting Slayer coins for poison damage. So I'm going to try to pop out, make some deadly poison potions. I have like a special pair of gloves, Toxic Maker gloves, that'll get me a better potion if I make these. So once this run is complete, I'll run away. I'll go make a bunch of those potions. I'll try to gear up to do poison damage as much as possible. And then I'll just keep running this, hopefully getting Slayer coins in the process if it works the way I think it's going to work. Okay, so the objective here is to pop over into Herblore, and we're going to make a bunch of these lethal toxins potions. I don't think it matters that they're only level 3 right now because I'm going to be getting the better version of the potion from these gloves no matter what I do. Let's see, superior herblore skill cape, potion stirrer. Do I even have any bearer? Not very many, but some. I'll go ahead and pop on cartography because there should be somewhere I can go to reduce the herblore interval. There we go. I'm just going to try to minimize the interval and then try to maximize my preservation chance, which isn't amazing with my current setup, but it should be okay, I think. And I guess we want to get some doubling in there. Don't know what, if anything, I should put in the passive slot, because there's not really anything else that I'm competing for here. It's probably fine. I guess I could also try to just maximize preservation chance. I have an option for that here. Not really. I guess I can increase the cap, but all right, let's go ahead and just make a bunch of these. I'm mostly here for the deadly toxin potions, which I don't think are affected by doubling, which kind of sucks. Okay, I've used up all my resources, so I'm gonna go ahead and gear up to try to do this cheese. Ideally, I'd like to do it while training melee. I need to train defense. So I guess what I'll do is magic has poison pods, which will make it even better for me to get points, and I can train magic on defense, right? Since I need the defense levels more urgently right now. So I'm going to gear up for that. So what we want is the legendary Slayer robes. We want the poison boots. We're going to want, I think we still want the eradicating gloves. Here, let me just put a set together and I'll report back. Hold on. All right, let's see how this goes here. In theory, as soon as I poison the enemy, I should be building up, yep, Slayer coins, a lot of Slayer coins. Okay, cool. So this is going to be a great way to AFK stuff. Put it on defensive here. Just trying to train skills and also get enough Slayer coins to buy everything I could ever conceivably want. Makes it tempting to go finish this Ice Hydra task first before I do much more of this, because if I can get the mythical Slayer gear, then I can get an even bigger Slayer coin bonus. So I might do that, but let me do a run really quick and just see how many coins it ends up adding up to. Okay, it's been a really long grind. I'm about to get my last Hydra kill here. There we go. Now I can buy this guy. I only have 20 million Slayer coins, so I think I'm gonna actually put it on my magic gear so that I can use that poison pods shenanigan to get a bunch more coins to get the rest of the upgrades. All right, so we upgrade the hat, and then we upgrade the body. And I need to get another 5 million to upgrade the range thing, but this should be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and gear up to just run some strongholds with poison to try to get a bunch of Slayer coins. I've been running this for a while. It seems like I actually want to minimize how much damage I can do. Maybe should have actually upgraded the ranged gear, because the mage gear is giving me too significant of a magic damage bonus, actually. So I'll probably end up swapping, once I get the cowl and the leather body, I'll swap to those and then put one of these in the passive slot. Anything that affects the actual like direct damage of the poison pod spell is bad. Probably also don't want these eradicating gloves. I'm going to try to find some other gloves that still have enough damage reduction on them. All right, accrued enough coins, get another upgrade. Go ahead and throw that on the ranged body, I guess. This guy. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and equip that to intentionally debuff my stats here. We can put that in the passive, that's fine. And I'm going to do the same thing as soon as I get another 10 million to get the coif. All right, I've been AFKing this guy for a bit. I decided to just not worry about the Slayer task and just fight him. The wiki recommends him, and I think the reason why is that he regenerates and also attacks pretty fast, which means he gets more poison ticks applied. But after AFKing for a few hours, it was enough to get another 20 million Slayer coins, so I'm going to pick up... Still not done. I think I'm going to want to be done. I'm going to want to get all the Slayer coins I'm going to need for all future activities and then switch my stuff back around, my agility obstacles. Or I could just pound through the rest of the expansion, you know? So let's upgrade the cowl to legendary. Okay. And now I need to actually buy... the both legendary melee pieces. I never did that, so I need 10 million for that, and then I need another 20 million on top of that to upgrade them into mythical. So that's 28 million more Slayer coins. I'm just gonna let this AFK. Good God, finally got Salem. That would have been really nice to get earlier. It would have saved me a ton of runes from 1 to 112. They don't have the Slayer pet, which is really unfortunate. That also would have gotten me lots and lots of Slayer coins if I had had it this whole time. I would like to overnight this because I think if I overnight it, then I'll just wake up with enough Slayer coins to be set for life. But I'm gonna have to make more Cyclops because this isn't gonna cut it. I think after this kill here, I'm gonna go make like 100,000 or so Cyclops. Probably the way to go. All right, I ended up overnighting this activity. See how it goes here. I checked in at least once to spend some of the coins, so 45 million Slayer coins. Okay, that might be enough for a lifetime of Slayer coins, which would be fantastic. I don't have to grind for this ever again. Yeah, so I already got the Slayer helmet mythical, so now I just have to pick up the one more mythical upgrade. Upgrade item. There we go. Okay, so now I have mythical Slayer wizard robes, melee helmet, melee plate body, ranged helmet and body, and the wizard hat. So lots of Slayer coins, but I have all of that. I also needed to have 10 million coins for the golden compass, 10 million coins for the golden shard, and I don't think I need to buy anything else. I mean, I guess technically I can get the green party hat, but it's just for completionism. So yeah, even if I were to get the party hat, it would still leave an extra 14 million or so left over for emergency, like resupply purchases, which is nice. So yeah, we're done with this grind. I gotta figure out what else I'm doing here. Let me stare at it for a second. All right, I'm gonna fight this Spectre. It's a Slayer task. I don't really need the Slayer XP or the Slayer coins, but because it's a Slayer task, I get a bunch of bonuses against it from my Slayer gear. Pretty annoying enemy, honestly. It has like a comically high damage reduction. This is with me reducing it from Spectre and Fervor and 2 prayers that reduce enemy damage reduction. I might need to actually find more sources of reduced enemy damage reduction. Like I think maybe the Ring of Malice might not be the best play against this thing, and the Ring of Power might be better. Let me look into it. Did get enough fragments from that grind to make one of these. This is a pretty good plate body. It also requires a divine plate body P. Ever make divine plate bodies? No. Make one really quick here. I probably have enough resources to make that. But it's a really nice piece of melee equipment for when I do melee eventually. I'm quick to make one of each divine item just so that I have them on me for when I get drops in the future, because I think they all have to be combined with this stuff. Some of it does. Whatever. Back to the Spectre then. So go here, upgrade iridium, upgrade with palladium, and then upgrade. Okay, cool. Ward of Flame plate body. So it's 12% damage reduction, chance to apply burn when attacking. Pretty good. The main reason to fight this guy is to get ectoplasm to make Spectre tablets, which are probably the best familiar in the game. Enemy gets minus 5% damage reduction is about the best thing you can get for DPS in Melvor, it seems like. I might stick around and just try to kill him until I get this Great Axe. I'm not sure that the Great Axe is actually going to be better than my other options right now, but it's a drop to grind for. I regret. I sat on strength forever, feeling like, well, I want to get strength to 120 because it'll increase my max hit when I'm doing melee. But I really should have gotten defense and attack to 115 because I need those to equip stuff. Like the Great Axe, this thing drops. When it drops it, I'm not going to be able to use it until I train those stats up. So at some point, I got to find those activities. I need to like make a spreadsheet and list out everything I want to do between now and the end of the expansion. It sounds like I need to do basically everything in Throne of the Herald to be able to do the actual Throne of the Herald dungeon. That it's actually quite difficult, and really depends on you having every conceivable unlock. So stuff I need to do. I need to do Lair of the Spider Queen. And I guess if I'm playing attentively this morning, maybe that's the better strategy than to sit in AFK the Spectre, because I could let that run like during stream or something. Lair of the Spider Queen drops a spear that I think is just going to be strictly better than the Ultimate God Sword. I could also get more spider eggs to make more spider tablets, which is relatively useful. I have to do the Cursed Forest. Let me try to get at least one clear on everything, because I feel like once I do something once, then I do a pretty good job of remembering what's expected of me if I go and attempt it again. There's a lot of stuff I generally have to go back and do though. It sounds like the final boss is even balanced around pets. That like because it's a DPS race and because you're kind of forced to spam manual eat, you need to have so much damage that you can overwhelm the computer's region. So there are a couple pets that I absolutely need to get. I have to get the one from the Lair of the Spider Queen Webby because that's a reduction in your attack interval. And then there's some one that I left behind in a much older dungeon that's also attack interval reduction. I have to find out which one it was. Hold on. It's Otto from the Dark Waters, which isn't even a dungeon. It's just killing Dark Waters Slayer mobs. And it's like a 1 in 7,500 drop from there. So I'll probably end up having to go back and fight in the Dark Waters for a long time to get that drop. But I think pet hunting is probably on the menu now. It's a little concerning because I think probably the best way to get all of these pets is to overnight the area, but that means I potentially end up wasting, hours. If I get the pet drop like 2 hours into a 10-hour overnight. Um, so I might do some stuff where I like, check in on my phone and then swap targets, but I'll give you a heads up as to what the general order of operations is going to be. I think I am going to switch to this Lair of the Spider Queen in a second, though. Hey, got the Royal Toxin Spear. Bit under rate. I guess maybe on rate depending on how many extra drops I've gotten, but based on number of clears, it should be about 1 in 50, and I got it at 35. It's pretty solid. I'll definitely be using that instead of the UGS from now on. I think it's strictly better at virtually all content that requires melee. So I'll let you know when I get a chance to try it out. It's kind of funny though. I guess it like completely doesn't work in this dungeon. I just went to go try it and had like a negative chance to hit. So they must have hard coded it to not function in here. So I won't use it here, I guess. I need to play a little less attentively here. So now that I got that spear drop, what I can do is I need to train my attack up anyway. So I think I'm going to use the spear and go find something to do. Like I'll probably go fight the Dark Water Slayer mobs to try to get that pet that gives you an attack interval boost. Because I can do that with melee and just let it run until it drops. Okay, this spear is absurd. It basically just one-shots. Like every time it attacks, it kills this thing immediately. So very cool. Just stay here until the pet pops up, I guess. Hey, that was pretty painless. Auto. Attack interval down. Really good one. That only took me like 130 kills, so I'm gonna leave. I have no reason to be here now. All right. Well, I already have monster respawn set up right now, so I don't want to. I was expecting to be sitting there for significantly longer. I'm gonna go ahead and equip. Let's see. Where's my? Did I run out? Okay, Monster Hunter scroll. I need to do. I'm gonna keep doing pet hunting here. So there's a bunch of other useful pets that I can try to go for. Probably need to favor stuff that gives me damage increases. I think the Hall of Wizards is one. Let me double check. Yeah, it's plus magic max hit at the Hall of Wizards. I'm just going to scroll down the list of all the possible pets and see if there's any that's more effective than this one for now. We're going to go for a really easy dungeon, though. I should probably be running it entirely with stuff that reduces my attack speed as much as possible. So, like, maybe throwing daggers or something. I'll figure it out. I'm going to pick up the Superior Range skill cape, just trying to minimize actual supply usage here. Doing this with Ancient Throwing Knives, and I've got my base attack interval down to 0.3 seconds. So that's pretty cool. That means if I end up doing the Lair of the Spider Queen successfully later and get the additional drop, then I can get my base attack interval down to 0.25 seconds. I think I have this about as optimized as I possibly can. I ended up doing the Hunter's Hat instead of the Elder Crown. It makes me have an attack interval of 0.4 instead of 0.3 seconds, but I ended up saving more time since they die instantly from the monster respawn timer being slightly faster, right? This is so fast, I might just go back and like do every pet that I'm missing because there's a substantial number of them. They're not all relevant to the end game, but given that this takes like no time at all, I can just do it with another monitor. I think that that's going to be my strategy. Oh, I forgot. I should have been on rapid. I was on long range. I'm like, well, I want defense XP, but here I'm not getting good enough XP anyway, just because of how few hit points the enemies have. So I'm just on rapid and I can get to 0.25 very easily, actually. That's amazing. Just realized I could technically be using divine throwing knives, which should be a little bit better than ancient throwing knives. I don't think this is making a big enough difference, right? Because everything's already dying in one hit, but I'd rather be using the better item if I can. So I'm just going to smith a few of these. I don't need too many of them. Okay, I've got like 7,000 of these. That should be enough because I have so much ammo preservation that it should actually last a really long time, I would think. Equip those and you're back up for this. Been putting this off for a while. I want to just get extra copies of my superior sigil so I can actually use my gear sets. And I actually threw away my old sigils after I got the superior sigil because I desperately needed bank space at the time. So I just re-grinded out the first 3 undead enhancements to go into the augmented one. I'm gonna grind out. Hopefully I don't go dry on the augmented ones, and then I can grind for the superior. But I've just been dreading doing this because I thought it would take so long. It doesn't take very long when you have this fast of a monster respawn time and attack interval, though. So and now's the time to do it. Wow, now I'm getting the stronghold luck. I got exactly the right sigils in exactly the right order. Sweet. Well, I don't really have cause to stay in the superior stronghold. I just wanted to have it as an option, and now I do. So that's fantastic. Trying to plan out the order in which I do this stuff. I switched over to this ice dungeon because it gives you ranged ammo preservation. And if I'm going to be doing it all with range, I'd like to have as much preservation as possible. I also did the math of not being on rapid. It cost me an extra 1.2 seconds per clear, but gets me a pretty substantial amount of defense XP per hour. And I'd rather be getting the defense XP from this because otherwise I'm getting ranged XP, which is useless to me. So I'm going to go ahead and do it on long range. If I really wanted to be very efficient here, what I'd probably do is finish manually farming the lair of the Spider Queen, try to get the additional attack interval reduction, but I'm just going to not. 1.2 seconds per clear isn't that much time in the grand scheme of things. Whoops, I just clicked through the pop-up. I hit level 6 on the Mark of the Spider, so now I just have to get the Spectre, which should happen, but I think it's going to be pretty slow since I don't think it's able to proc as often. I think it's anytime I get a prayer XP drop, which for a lot of my special attacks isn't great, and my current attack speed is probably too fast to reliably level it. But that means I'm probably not going to keep this one equipped. I'm going to switch to something that has a synergy, maybe? Let me figure out what I want. This current project, I'm not actually using any summoning tablets at all because the enemies die way before the bar can even fill. I think I can just get away with using the centaur because I don't think I'll consume a single tablet. I'm officially pretty dry on the Frozen Cove pet. I've got 438 clears. It's 1 in 350. 1 in 350 is one of those things where it's like not particularly rare, but it's rare enough that going dry can be kind of painful. But I'm also getting like 200 clears an hour, so it doesn't really matter. I think that if I end up having to leave to AFK for a long time, I'm going to switch to doing the Goblin because there's not an RNG element, right? I just have to get 42,000 clears. And I don't think I'll be able to do that in like a few hours anyway. It might be something I have to overnight at least once. Looking for better options here because I kind of didn't want to do range since I don't need ranged XP. And I found out that the Archaeologist Whip is really fast. It's got a 1.8 second attack interval. And yeah, it sucks, but who cares if I'm doing the really low level dungeons, right? It still deletes everything. I can't quite get down to 0.25 seconds. I'd have to probably, well, I'd have to get the Webby pet from the spider lair, but then I would get it on melee without needing to run like rapid or anything. And this would be a way for me to train attack, which is a stat that I actually care about. So that's pretty funny. All right, so I'm still gonna have to let this run for quite a while. 40,000 kills is a lot. I get about 2,250 per hour. Let me find something else to do here. Since I can pay attention a little bit, let's go back to trying to pick up some of these pets. Should be fine. All right, I'm more than double dry on the Frozen Cove, so I'm just going to back up and do the Chicken Dungeon. I think it gives you like 1% accuracy, which is pretty useful. I need to do that one. I need to do the Undead Graveyard. I'll just go in order, I guess. Hey, there we go. I got Chicken Coop, 1 accuracy rating.
It was pretty dry in it though, it turns out. Kind of frightening. Do the spider forest because I think I need this one's like a double loot chance, which would be nice to get early-ish. Not particularly interested in going for a 100% playthrough of the game, so there are some pets I think I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip Undead Graveyard because it's GP from combat, which who cares? I already have the Bandit base. I'm going to do the Hall of Wizards because it's magic damage. I'm going to do this because it's double loot. I already have the Myelite Caves. The Deep Sea Ship I would have done a while ago, but it's Slayer coins, and I already have effectively infinite Slayer coins, so I'm not going to bother with that. Frozen Cove I'm going to keep doing because it's rune preservation, or ammo preservation, which is helpful. I might skip Dragon's Den because it's only extra damage against enemies in combat areas. I'm basically done with ever doing combat areas. And I might go back to the Underwater Ruins to get the Hasty Trident, but I think it's so outperformed by the stuff that I already have that it's probably not worth it. I can't really think of anything else I'd want to grab from out here. So yeah, probably going to skip Dragon's Den. Volcanic Cave I have. Infernal Stronghold. Damage to monsters in dungeons. Probably going to need to get that. That's pretty good. And that would be it for vanilla, right? Because I already have all of the ones from the God dungeons and Into the Mist you get for free, and Impending Darkness you get for free. And I have everything from AOD. So then it would just be the Throne of the Herald dungeons. So Ancient Sanctuary is chance to double. I want that. Underground Lake is enemies have minus 2% damage reduction, which is maybe the most. I should probably be doing that first. That one and Lair of the Spider Queen because it's really, really good. Lightning Region I didn't get is just straight up plus 2% max hit, which is great. Webby is basically mandatory attack interval. I can probably skip the 2% lifesteal from the Cursed Forest. Lifesteal is only okay. The Necromancer's Palace, which I think is this one, is summoning max hit, which is okay. It would have been better if I was still doing AOD, but I've been noticing that like my summoning damage is barely any of the damage that I do. So if I get it, cool. I'm not gonna like go way out of my way for it. And then obviously the Herald pet from Throne of the Herald is like the whole reason that you do this expansion because it gives you a bunch of busted unlocks. The only other things to do that aren't listed here would be I already have the Stronghold of the Undead pet and the Stronghold of Magic pet, which are unfortunately the two least useful ones. I guess this one is bonus to Slayer task damage. That's not too bad. Dragons is damage to bosses, and Gods is damage to all monsters. So I probably actually need to get both of those at some point. Fortunately, I don't already have my 3 sigils. I have 2 sigils from each of them, so hopefully I'll get the pet before I have 3 sigils. I don't really want to be grinding those without the chance of getting a sigil drop. Anyway, those are my long-term plans here in terms of grinding for pets. I think once I have all of that, I'll feel comfortable continuing with the Throne of the Herald expansion. Next time I can play really attentively, I'll probably try to focus on getting this one from Lair of the Spider Queen because the extra interval reduction would actually help for everything else I'm doing. All right, I had to check on my phone to get the Spider Forest pet, but I did. Let's see what I got here. Still nothing at Hall of Wizards. Yeah, so there's Rosie. I'm going to get the Frozen Cove and the Hall of Wizards, and then probably move on to maybe the Strongholds before doing the Throne of the Herald ones. Almost certainly going to overnight the Golden Golden. I don't think overnighting it one night isn't going to be enough, but maybe 2 nights. 19,000 goblins. We're getting there slowly. Okay, I'm over halfway there. Get there pretty soon. I am out of the respawn scrolls though, which slows things down a little bit. All right, just got the Hall of Wizards pet. Too bad. I was pretty dry on it, but not the worst. Yeah, double dry, almost exactly double dry. Let me get the Frozen Cove still. That one I'm really dry on. Over double dry. Man, pretty dry on this, but finally got the Arctic Yeti. Okay. So skipping the Undead Graveyard. Skipping the Deep Sea Ship. I think skipping Dragon's Den. We said that that one was not particularly exciting. Damage to monsters in combat areas, which I'll probably never do again. If I do the Infernal Stronghold, I probably need better gear than what I currently have equipped because I don't get killed. So if I'm still looking to just idle something, I guess I could try to do the Stronghold of the Gods. I'm not sure if it's going to be doable with this gear set, but let's pop over there and see. Maybe it is. Who knows? That's where's my gods? All right, we're just gonna run it and see if I get annihilated or if it's fine. Things still die pretty fast. They're probably not fast enough. I probably need to like actually gear up for this instead of using the really fast archaeologist whip. Stronghold of the Gods is pretty doable with the Royal Toxin Spear. The main downside is that the final boss is immune to poison, which really, really tanks how powerful this is. So I'm currently at the Infernal Stronghold because it's a little bit faster to clear, and the pet is more damage against dungeons, which would be helpful. So I'm just gonna hang out until I get this pet. I don't have too many more pets that I like very much need to go for before I go back to Throne of the Herald. I need all the pets from Throne of the Herald. They're basically all good, but I'm trying to clean up this stuff from vanilla first. Hey, there is the Infernal Stronghold pet. So we can leave this place. I don't think any regular dungeons have a pet that I care about anymore outside of the Throne of the Herald ones, so it's just Stronghold time. I guess I'm just going to run Stronghold of the Gods for a bit. That's the most useful one, 2% global damage. And then maybe I do the Stronghold of Dragons too, because the boss that I'm trying to prepare for, the Herald, counts as a boss. Hey, would you look at that? I got the pet. That's a really good pet to get. 2% damage is really good. Didn't get another superior enhancement, so I'm going to do one more clear just to see if I get lucky. Don't really need it. Honestly, don't think I'm actually going to have to use equipment sets. I think it's fine to just swap weapons around. I think that like this handful of pieces of content where I need to swap, like the Herald, it actually pauses in between waves, so I could just fix all of my gear that way. But the pet is the main reason I came here. I'm not super sure if I want to spend a ton of time at the Stronghold of Dragons trying to get that pet. It's only extra damage to enemies in dungeons. But I guess 2% damage is 2% damage, so it's a thing I can AFK. I'm almost certainly going to have to AFK it for a long time, and I can't really AFK most of the Throne of the Herald stuff, so I'll probably swap to that after this run clears. I only got 115 attack, which was one of my objectives here. I can't actually use defense because the defense on this is horrible. So I guess I'll just stay on attack for a while, but I am going to want to get my defense to 115 to meet some more gear requirements later. Hey, good timing. I was about to step away and finally got the Mark of the Spectre, rank 3, which gives me some new options. I think the big good one is to combine it with Minotaur, which I don't have terribly many, but also things are dying fast enough that maybe I don't even consume too many of them. Here it is. Make more Minotaurs later. Yeah, the synergy is additional 5% reduced enemy damage reduction, which is really good. I have like 5 minutes until I have to go live with stream, so after this run, I might quickly just try to make like a couple thousand of these just to stop me from having to burn through them. But that's really good. Oh, hey, I don't know when it happened, but I got the 3rd dragon enhancement, so as soon as this pet drops, I never have to run this place again. That's cool. I've got 3 dragon enhancements, 2 gods enhancements, 1 magic, 1 undead. I don't know. It's going to be a pretty low priority for me to go and try to get more copies of them. I'm really just here for the pets right now. All right, I've been away for several hours. Let's see if I got the pet here. Got another superior enhancement, so I have 4 now. And no pet. Brutal. I don't know if I want to AFK this overnight. How many clears am I up to? All right, so I'm only a little bit dry on the pet. Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to train attack. I need to get it to 120 at some point to equip stuff, so I guess I'll overnight it. Sad I don't already have the drop, but what are you going to do? I have a task completion here from doing the Stronghold of the Gods. I'm just going to take it, because why not?
That's a lot of chests that I don't need.
All right, I overnighted the Stronghold of Dragons. I have the stupid pet now, please. 119 attack. There it is. I don't know when I got it, but I got it, so that's what we came here for. Now I have every pet that I want, except for the only one that I need, well, pre Throne of the Herald, is this guy, the Goblin. That's really nice to see all those filled in there. So I am going to re-gear to go do the Goblin after this run is done. All right, well, this Golden grind is AFKable, and I can play the game a little attentively today, so I'm going to go start working on the Throne of the Herald dungeons. I'm going to start with the Underground Lava Lake, because it's got a really good pet, reduces enemy damage reduction, so it should speed everything else up. Although, the attack interval one is probably even better. Maybe I should even do that, because that'll make this Golden grind more efficient. It's just the Lair of the Spider Queen sucks because you have to wait so long. The problem, here's a problem. I keep having to respec for respawn time in agility. I'm gonna start running out of items if I keep doing this. Once I finish this Golden grind, I don't think I need respawn time ever again, unless if I go for 100% pet completion, but I probably don't really care about like Slayer coins and GP from combat and the like. So it's actually probably best to just wait for this grind to be done. It's going to be like 3.5 hours. I'll try to get some work done or something. I don't like that about agility. It feels icky to swap between stuff. It shouldn't feel icky, but it does. Hey, there we go. Golden Goblin. All right, I have every pet from vanilla that I care about. Finally. Don't need that, because that's just GP. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. So now we're going to work on Throne of the Herald, and I'm going to start with the Underground Lava Lake. So let me gear up. Let me fix my agility shortcuts or obstacles too, because I don't need monster respawn time ever. All right, I'm going to start with this dungeon because I can actually AFK it and get that enemy damage reduction penalty pet. Well, that was quick. I already have the full collection log from this dungeon, I think. Now I just have to wait for the pet to drop, and on 7 clears. Okay, I let this underground lake run for a few hours. Did I get the pet? No. I don't have the pet. Jeez, how many clears did I do in 5 hours? Okay, well, I'm not dry yet because it's 1 in 150, so I'll just let it keep running. Make sure I have sufficient runes. I'm not going to run out while I'm away. Yeah, I'm starting to push it a little bit, but it should be okay. All right, let's see if I'm super dry here because I did this for many hours. Defense 2 level ups, magic 2 level ups. Vector mark level 4 is good. I did run out of witch tablets. That's okay. Wow, yeah, oh man, that's double dry. Okay. Well, shit. I don't think I want to use the dragon here, right? I think I might have a synergy for it now. But I think everything in this dungeon is immune to burning. I'll figure something out. Hold on. Fortunately, there's really nothing interesting to get from the drops here. It's literally just the pet, so hopefully I get lucky. 74 blazing helmets. Okay. I am so dry on this pet. It's 1 in 150. I'm at 541 KC. I guess I've been under or close to rate on almost every other pet so far. So this is the first time I've really been getting burned. And it kind of sucks because it's a dungeon that requires magic, so I'm just burning through my runes here. I really hope I get it before I run out. I guess we'll find out. All right, I've been running this all day, you guys. I'm out of runes. I'm so dry. I've done 669 kills, and it's a 1 in 150. So I'm coming up on being quintuple dry.
Like Antarctica.
Dry as a
Today I
desert.
learned.
Andrea's here too. She's been playing Melvor Idol. What are you currently working?
I haven't checked it.
Oh my god, wow. Tell me that. All right, I think I'm just gonna rune craft overnight because I'm gonna need to get those air runes anyway, so I'll try to gear up for that. Oh, Andrew. All right, 10 hours of rune crafting. Hopefully enough air runes is a million air runes. It's not that many. I'm running low on body and ancient and death runes. Well, death runes were fine, but these are the ones I might have to come back to. Let's go back, despite being stupid dry on the lava lake. I don't even see this, but I'm so dry here. I've killed 500 magic fire demons here alone, which is the task completion. Gets me a bunch of runes that, unfortunately, I'm not really using right now. As I continue to be dry here, I'm starting to get a little nervous that, like, if I run Lair of the Spider Queen, I'm going to be comparably dry, and that's the one that I have to pay attention to, like, every boss fight. I might actually swap over to that since I'm able to be a little attentive right now. Obviously, if I get that pet, it would be really helpful because interval is helpful everywhere. It's just nice to AFK. It just sucks that I'm this dry. Well, I'm now quintuple dry. 150, 1 and 150. I'm at 755 and no pet. I'll get it eventually. Probably end up getting to max magic and max defense by the time it drops. I've been checking on my phone off and on all day, and I did get the pet finally. So unfortunately, I don't get to see it here. KC ended up being like 8:35. I had to run down to the computer to start recording to show you that I finally got it. Where is it? There it is. All right, damage reduction down. So I attentively do the Lair of the Spider Queen right now, so I'm just going to AFK the Lightning region because I know I can do that. I guess I'll finish this clear and then do that. But at least I don't have to worry about running out of runes again. Jeez. Okay, I got my last kill in. 579 burning chests. I definitely don't need those. Yeah, so I'm just gonna gear up and we'll get the lightning region. I will do the Spider Queen. I just gotta get time. Oh, officially already dry on the lightning region. I had gotten close to 150 KC previously when I was trying to get the stuff together to make like the Frostspark boots. Hopefully it's not as bad as the lava lake though. So try to clear that out. Probably go back and AFK the ancient sanctuary, and then I keep saying, hey, I'm attentive now. I'm gonna do the Lair of the Spider Queen, but I'm really worried that I'm gonna like be slightly inattentive and like be looking off screen when the boss spawns and get nuked. So I want to make sure next time I can play attentively that I actually get some kills in here. It would be great to not go dry on Lair of the Spider Queen. I think I might actually cry if I'm there for 839 kills if I have to do all that attentively. Hey, I checked in right before going to bed. I was like, I'd hate to get the pet and then still AFK this all night. And I got it, so that's not too bad. I was a little dry, but could have been worse. 190 clears. It could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. I'm going to gear up and we'll overnight the Ancient Sanctuary, and then hopefully I can do the Spider Queen tomorrow. I ended up getting yet another pet while checking on my phone. It's sorry, I have to like let it run for 10 hours. I feel like checking a little bit before I go to bed. So I got Penelope. Here's a screenshot from the Ancient Sanctuary. It was only at my KC. Hold on. 59 KC, so pretty much under drop rate there. And then here's a screenshot from earlier of Harry. Technically at 8:32 is when I got it. I didn't really have a good thing to quickly switch to AFK all night, so I decided to just do the Dragon's Den. I don't really need the pet from it at all. It's not very helpful, but I wanted to get some XP. And I got the pet. 1% damage to combat area monsters. It's probably never going to come up. Almost to 120 strength, and I'm going to get 120 attack. I was saying now I have basically all these pets, so I have to start doing Lair of the Spider Queen. I guess I could also maybe do Cursed Forest, but I have to see if that's actually able to be totally AFK'd. So I'll research that really quick before doing anything else. I guess after running this, I can finally turn in this township task. I don't think the township matters anymore. I don't think there's any kind of reward for doing tasks above 110. It's kind of neat to have most of the achievements done. Go ahead and open chests from the stuff I've already done here. I don't think any of that matters. Like, some of these might matter. Thorned power cores. You actually have to spend substantially more time at the Ancient Sanctuary. Like, the math doesn't really line up because every other dungeon you like are done within 50 kills, but that one you have to stay there quite a bit longer. And then we should be good on. Oh, they're Dragon Hide now, I think. Yeah. So I really want to be able to completely idle Lair of the Spider Queen, and reviewing the wiki, it looks like it's technically possible. I just have to have a very specific setup. And I'm most of the way to getting there. I need to get the max hit points gem, which I never actually went around to getting in AOD. And I have to make a divine crossbow and a divine shield upgraded, but those are both pretty new. So I'm gonna let this run finish, and then I'm gonna go put that gear set together because I would really like to just let this go until I get the drop because I'm really afraid of looking away for 2 extra seconds and dying here since most of it's idle, right? It's just the boss that I have to pay attention to. Okay, I am fighting this cult monster in order to get the max hit points gem that I'm going to need. Okay, I did get a single max hit points gem drop. At some point, I'm probably going to want to try to grind out that really nice multi-purpose gem. It's unfortunate it doesn't have the interval bonus because that's like probably the most valuable thing you could possibly get. But it combines every other gem, and those together are pretty good for some content. So that gem is what I need to be able to do this. It is plus 200 max HP. We need 15 of them to make this thing, so that's not happening anytime soon. Let me see. I think there's a couple other items that are stragglers that I need to be able to do this. It's that. Hold on one second. I need a divine crossbow, which I was hoping to not use, but if it's going to let me AFK the thing, then that's fine. Is your crossbow better? Stats 115. I think the meteor crossbow is better. Why would it recommend the other one? 182 strength bonus versus 199. Huh. Why this one requires a higher level despite being worse. Well, whatever. Give me a second. Probably go make the relic shield. I need to do a little bit more archaeology to be able to afford it, but I'm just going to make this the divine shield. I think that's fine. Already a pretty substantial. It's like 16% damage reduction, which I think is the same damage reduction as a relic shield until I get defense to 120, and the relic shield slightly edges it out with like a 1% DR. So then I can do the divine crossbow. Okay. And put everything else together here. Okay, I think I have a kit together that will make me able to fully idle this. It's much slower. Way slower than what I was doing previously. So I'm gonna have to babysit this for a second because I might be able, because my stats are a little bit better than what the wiki recommends for this like pure idle setup, you know. So I'm gonna try to babysit it a little bit, and what I need to do essentially is I have to catch the boss when she's melee because that's the style that can kill me if I'm doing this with ranged. And I need to like quickly experiment to see if I can get the stats down. Because my auto eat threshold is 6624, so it's possible I can get away with switching back to the engulfing vortex longbow, which is way better than this divine crossbow, which sucks. Project is making me realize how ridiculously powerful the Spectre familiar is. I better make sure that I go farm more ectoplasm to replace these guys when I run out, because these are still the ones that I have left over from that township task that gave me 100,000. I've moved stuff around to get my enemy damage reduction down stuff back. I think what might be going on is like I don't think that the wiki assumes that I have the double benefit of this, which is an extra 2% auto eat threshold, which might be enough to push me over without having to have an excessive amount of additional DR. So I just need to pay attention until I get the melee Spider Queen and then see if this number is higher than 6,600. I might have an agility obstacle that I could swap to that squeezes out a little bit more threshold. I think threshold is probably the best way to make sure that I can clear it, not DR, but I'll putz around with it a little bit. I have a little bit of room. I could technically swap out the Ring of Malice
I don't think that that is as impactful as reducing the enemy DR. I could swap out Battle Heart as well. So I think I have a good solution here. I forgot I had these decoy idols from archaeology. It's kind of like protect item, but uses up the passive slot. So I'm basically paying the pirate hook in exchange for this, which slows my kills down a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Um, Essentially, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to focus on doing as much DPS as possible. So the exact opposite of the gear set I just put together. Because I think my engulfing vortex is really good. Even though the melee Spider Queen and even the ranged Spider Queen has a high enough max hit to kill me because it's higher than my auto eat threshold, I think because the engulfing vortex longbow attacks so fast, it attacks so many times that it should do enough healing to protect me from being in the one shot range, i.e., under 5,324 HP for my auto eat threshold. I think that's only possible because of all of my stacking life steal here. I guess we're not really going to see it here because this is the one that I'm strong against, but I guess the idea is I can let this go ahead and idle, and then if I do happen to die, I'll get covered. But the clears aren't going to be like 10 times slower, right? It's like I'm able to play attentively enough right now that I can notice in my peripheral vision if I die and I lose the idol, but it's not attentive enough that I'm just staring at the screen ready to swap items constantly. So I'm just letting it run like this. I'm using the Blazing Helmet and the Ward of Flame plate body, even though they have range penalties, because it essentially guarantees that the computer is burning all the time, which is a decent amount of extra damage. And I think the extra range strength bonus wouldn't really make up for how much I'm doing with all of this burn, because this is like a total of what, 25% chance to burn, and I hit 10 times with the engulfing longbow, so I'm almost guaranteed to burn with each one of those special attacks. Yeah. Well, it's not completely safe with lifesteal. Good thing I had the decoy idol. You know, I might just stay on it though, because this is still way faster than having to pay attention to it all the time, which I really don't want to do. Um, I'll just keep going back in and then re-equipping the decoy idol when I die. I think the chance of me dying is still pretty low. I probably can minimize it. I was getting a little greedy there. Like I unequipped the 10% DR potion and unequipped the Fez. So I'll put those back on and see if that makes enough of a survivability difference. Ooh, lucky me. Lucky me. I got the pet. Leave this dungeon and never come back. 57 KC. I will take it. I'm happy to go as dry as I did on Underground Lava Lake, so I don't have to stay here playing attentively for longer. I'm going to run away. I have no reason to finish this dungeon. I did lose a couple decoy idols, so I died like 3 times, but it was worth it to not have to pay attention. Let me go do something while I'm standing around to try to get a gear set together for Cursed Forest. I guess I'll just get the other pets that I don't have. May as well. All right, I'm going to give the Cursed Forest a try here with this current setup. Unfortunately, you have to do it with magic because the final boss is immune to everything else. I'm going to go ahead and just use the decoy idol because it lets me test out the run, and then I can switch it to the pirate hook if we're looking okay. 58, 57 is pretty good up here, though, for an auto-eat threshold. All right, so the regular kills are kind of slow. Here's the actual boss. I think the idea is that the boss can stack a bunch of different curses on me. Doubled if you're cursed. Makes it kind of difficult to eyeball whether I'm at risk of dying here, because I would need to see what happens when I have all 3 curses, right? I don't think I can have all 3 curses. I think she... Huh. I don't think she can stack curses on me like that. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep running with the decoy idol for now, just in case. I'm not sure if it's safe or not. Really glad I got this water pulse staff, because the fact that it always hits, given how low your hit chance is in this dungeon, and always, or has a really high chance to stun the enemy, it's really good.
Be grateful for doing AOD because I think this would be a big pain in the ass otherwise. Basically, I've never really needed to use archaic or ancient magics at all. Kind of interesting. I still need to do 40 more ancient sanctuary clears at some point. I still haven't noticed if she's ever able to stack 2 curses on me. If she can, then she can kill me. But if she can only do 1 curse at a time, then I think I'm completely safe. Because that's 1 curse. But then I keep stunning her before I could see if she's able to curse me again. It's kind of funny, actually. There's 3 masks I eventually want from this place that are all a 1 in 60 drop. I think the pet isn't particularly important. It's like 2% life steal, which is, I can live without it. But I do want to at least stay here until I get all 3 of those masks. You're going to have to run this 100 times no matter what, because the final curse you get, Despair, is really good. It makes the enemy take a percentage of hit points taken and 12% more damage taken. And I'll just be able to run that whenever I'm doing magic from now on. The runes it consumes are Despair runes, which I need way more of, but also Soul runes, which I'm fine on. So I'd have to runecraft Despair runes a bit, but I think that would be fine. Well, I got the Voodoo Trinket to drop, which I don't know that I'll ever use. It does go in the passive slot. Curses can be used without a magic weapon. Hard to imagine that that beats the Fez or the Pirate Hook in either slot, but maybe Despair is good enough that that's worth it. I suppose we'll find out. All right, got my first mask, Mask of Madness. Can't really use it in this dungeon because everything's immune to curses anyway. It is an extra 1% DR, so that's kind of cool. Well, so much for... This is one of the least useful pets in this expansion. 9 KC? All right, well, we're making up for me going this dry at the lava lakes. Actually, the extra little bit of lifesteal is going to be pretty nice. I'm eventually going to swap back off of the elite combat pillar. Probably should have rushed this a little bit sooner to get the summoning interval bonus from the Necromancer's Palace, but it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and pick up this Sign of the Stars. It's a little late for an astrology interval bonus. I don't think I will ever do astrology again. Maybe it affects the Into the Abyss expansion when we do that. I guess I could probably also afford to pick this up because I've got plenty of excess Slayer coins. I don't really need it, but I'd like to clear all this stuff from the shop if we can. All right, got the Mask of Despair, which I'm actually going to swap to because even though the Despair Curse doesn't work in this dungeon, this item is just strictly better than the Lightning Aura helmet. I guess it doesn't give me the stun effect of the Lightning Aura helmet, which is pretty good with the Water Pulse staff constantly stunning things, but I don't know, we'll see if the extra damage makes up the difference. It looks like the main benefit of the Lightning helmet is that it just gives 20% of max hit to min hit when the enemy is stunned, which is pretty good, but I don't think it competes with the additional like 20% flat magic damage bonus. This helmet is really good. Stupid good, honestly. All right, I've got all the drops now from the Curse Chest. This ring, all 3 masks, the Voodoo Trinket. I just have to keep clearing it enough times to get the Despair Curse. So like 27 more clears. All right, I'm out of time to keep running the Cursed Forest here, so I'm going to finish... Shoot, that's what I meant about being out of time. I'm going to finish this run, and then I'm going to try to gear up for the Necromancer's Palace and AFK that, because I do need to get at least 100 kills there. I'm going to babysit one quick run on the Necromancer's Palace. I think I should be completely safe. I don't think the damage reduction requirements are very... Oh, 54, 47. Why am I already worse? Am I expected to have something else? Hold on. All right, trying again. Max hits down. See what the Confusion Curse does exactly. I think it's probably not great. I'm going to go ahead and throw that decoy urn on to make sure that I don't kill myself here, you know? I can swap it off once it looks like I'm completely safe. Yeah, the Confusion Curse seems pretty bad. It was putting me at a much higher... Respawn with full hit points. Apply a random curse to the target on spawn or revive. Maybe it's like an attack thing?
that it looks more dangerous than it actually is because its attack interval is so long and my attack interval is so fast that it can't actually one-shot me because I'll always clear the curse before it matters, question mark? Maybe. I'm not sure. Another melee enemy towards the end that can throw a curse on you that doesn't get me in one-shot range. So I think the operating theory here is that although the skeleton is a little bit dangerous, I don't think it's able to one-shot me. It's really tempting to throw on the decoy idol just in case. I think the final boss is pretty safe here. So I think I'm completely safe because I think the idea is that I'm very likely to be able to top myself off on health. The reason that I died in the Lair of the Spider Queen is because she does an attack that makes her attack twice back to back really fast before it's even possible for me to lifesteal heal. That must be the reason that it technically has an attack range that's higher than my threshold, but I survive. Right, I was able to AFK things completely safely for 4 hours. Well, maybe not completely safely. Maybe it was possible for me to fail it. But I got 78 clears, which is pretty good. Let me open all these bone chests. I don't think I need most of this. Is that everything? Let me check the wiki. That might be everything. Ring, gloves, amulet, hood, urn, summoning scrolls. Yep, that's everything there is to get. Obviously, I don't have the pet, which maybe I'll stay for if this is safe. But this will be kind of nice if I have to do any more summoning. Like, obviously, I don't need to train it anymore. And I think the rest of these items are kind of underwhelming, but are good if I have to do anything else in AOD, because they affect your summoning damage. I should be able to buy this guy now. Nice. 10% summoning interval down is incredible. The reward for beating this place is plus 5% summoning max hit if I go for the pet, which I don't really need because I think my summons do absolutely like shit damage. Like when they hit, they're hitting for like 1200, which is 700. It's nothing. So I'm mostly just using the summons for their synergies and their passive effects. So I might let this run for a little bit to see if I get lucky on the pet, but I really don't need it. I could probably start transitioning to focusing on Slayer now. I'm going to go ahead and spend some Slayer coins here to get access to the Golden Cloud Mountains Slayer area. I am going to have to go fight the guys in the Midnight Valley pretty soon because I need ectoplasm to get more Spectre talismans. I'm running kind of low. But I'll do one more clear and then I'll maybe pick one of those guys to overnight to decide which one makes the most sense. I was able to reroll my Slayer task into this Torver guy. These guys drop a really strong new weapon, so maybe it makes sense to try to go for that, because it'll make farming these guys a little bit easier. We'll see. Summoning scroll thing is really nice because it gets me up to 80% preservation chance in summoning and gets me way more tablets per cast. So even though I only had like 100 ectoplasm, it's enough to get me tens of thousands of Spectre tablets. I think I'm going to make these and then go try to fight this thing. Okay, I made like 72,000 Spectres out of 100 ectoplasm, which is pretty good. Before I go fight this guy, sorry, I got a phone call a second ago if you heard that sound in the background. Apparently these guys like hit you with insane bleed effects. So before I go fight him, I'm going to go fight a thing that drops something that will deal with the bleed, this monster croc. I think I have to set up with magic and then shouldn't be too bad. It's like a 1 in 100 drop or something. Okay, I got this cape that I came for, the Bleed Burner Cape. I guess the idea is that it just has a chance to remove bleed every bleed tick, which is pretty nice. I'm going to try to fully gear up here and try to fight this thing. Probably, I might be good enough already. I think I need to wear damage reduction potion. Okay. Go ahead and equip this guy. Then I'll pop over and change the auto eat threshold. I think he's pretty nasty. I don't want to die. So by default, 4,500 is the max hit. Can stun me. That's unavoidable. I have to watch to see for when he lands the stun. I think that I'll be safe because I think it's 1.3 times damage. 0.3 times 4518 is, oh, still pretty bad. That's like 5,800. Yeah, let me try to watch for it. Oh, and he's got like 195% life steal right now. Oof. Not great. Probably equip that will help with the life steal problem. This should help a little bit too, in theory. Might still be attacking fast enough that it's not like a major concern. Oh, 6,100 max hit he occasionally has while I'm stunned. Maybe I'm attacking fast enough that it doesn't really matter, because as long as I'm able to clear the stun before he hits me, that's... Oh, but it is 2 stacks of stun. Okay, well, gotta try to figure this out so that I don't die. I don't think there's any way to 100% guarantee that this guy won't one-shot me. If he stuns, bleeds, and then hits me with agile wings in exactly that order, and I'm not at full health at the moment he starts the attack, I'm in trouble. But I think the chance of that happening is like vanishingly low, especially with how often I'm stunning him. But it's really hard to tell if it's safe or not. So I guess I'm risking losing an item of these items. If I lost the Fez, that would be really bad. But almost everything else I could reclaim. It would suck to lose like the Mythical Slayer robes too, I suppose. Okay, so I got a little spooked by Torvair here. So I'm running Leviathan right now to get the Leviathan shield. Problem with going for the Leviathan shield, it's really good for damage reduction. It's probably going to be really good for keeping me alive against this guy. But I won't be able to use the Water Pulse staff anymore. And it's really great because it is guaranteed to hit and really likely to stun. So I'm going to have to come up with some other kind of solution to fight this thing. I really don't want to die against it. I really don't want to have a decoy idol equipped the whole time I'm fighting it. And I guess I could just AFK it for a really long time, but I think what's honestly going to happen is I'm going to have to gather the materials to unlock this guy, the Golden Shard. So technically, I have the Agile Wings Rapier shards. I just need to get 10 Featherstorm Crossbow shards and 10 Slicing Maelstrom Wand shards. And then I can go to the final Slayer area where I can get upgraded armor. And maybe the armor makes enough of a difference. Like, because it is pretty substantial. I think it's like 14% DR in each piece. So maybe if I have a full set, then I can go and fight this guy with complete impunity. But I'm going to start by getting this shield. The deal here is this guy has like a 1 in 500 chance to drop 1 piece of the shield, and I need to get 10 pieces. So probably a perfect thing to overnight. All right, I overnighted this Leviathan guy. Let's see how many pieces I got here. 7. Wow, I'm going to have to fight this guy for a while, aren't I? Okay. Getting the double drop is kind of a huge deal against him. We're at 120 magic. I just need 120 defense, strength, and attack now, and I can get the superior max cape, which would be fantastic. All right, so I only got 7 and 10 hours. Let me do something else here. I think I'm going to try to unlock the Millennium Gate to get the armor to maybe give me a better chance of surviving against the Golden Cloud Mountain guys. I guess I'll do melee next against the Archdare. Try it at least. All right, so I'm fighting the Archdare, and it's way easier than the Torvair. I just think it's because the Royal Toxin Spear is like super busted compared to everything else. Maybe the strat actually is to hang out at this guy until I get the full Featherstorm crossbow and then use that to fight the other things. I think he can still technically kill me, but he's not as scary because he does a thing where he stuns me, but the thing that stuns me doesn't make him attack way faster. And it's avoidable. He only has a 50% chance to hit me, and then only a 20% chance to stun instead of like an 80% chance to stun. So I think the likelihood that he gets me before I kill him is pretty low, and also I'm pretty likely to have an attack interval of like 0.5 seconds. I should even be able to clear the stun if he gets through with that. Oh, there's strength 120. Go ahead and get attack 120, and then I just have the one thing to work on. Getting defense to 120 is going to be kind of annoying because I can't really directly do it with
Toxin Spear, and the Toxin Spear is too good to not use. So we'll figure something out. Once I get attacked to 120, I'll cross that bridge, I guess. All right, I've got enough of the Agile Wing shards and the Featherstorm shards. I'm going to try to get the magic one now. I just want to unlock the last Slayer area so I have choices about getting gear, because it would be great if I could get to the point where I feel comfortable totally idling one of these guys. I think the mage is way less dangerous, but I don't really have the way to shut him down as quickly. I'm going to use these power crystals I got from archaeology to try to stun him so that he can't hit me and heal. I could try to equip more stuff to reduce his life steal, but I think the objective is to just try to nuke him down before he's really a problem, you know. I missed that a task completion here. 30 Fiozor, Ancient Necromancer. Okay, I have 11 of these drops now. Let me finish this kill really quick. Any second now. All right, so I can finally afford to buy this guy, Golden Shard, unlock some Millennium Gate Slayer area. I mean, you'd think that it would make more sense to like save up to one of these weapons, because it would make everything easier, but I kind of just want to get this unlocked, done, and out of the way, because I think some of the armor that drops from there might make farming for the weapons easier. Now I don't know how fucked I am, right? I don't know how difficult these guys are, if I'm just gonna roll in and they're gonna destroy me. Uh, Let me try each of them just to see how nasty they are. Double check what there's no area effect in the Millennium Gate, which is kind of interesting. I like the idea. It seems like all of the guys you fight have the endgame weapons from vanilla, which is cool. They're like zombies for the different combat styles. We'll start with the Devastator and look at what the stats are. If anything is looking like it's going to one-shot me. Ocean Song looks bad. Unavoidable. 5568. I can probably deal with that, though, if I go here. That pop-up scared me. I thought I died. 5857. Does he even have a stun? Freeze me, which would be bad. I think anything he does is going to kill me, but he has a shitload of health. He takes forever to kill, even with all my buffs. How does he seems like he's regening health a lot, too. Oh, because he has Elemental Master. Okay. I wonder if it makes sense to protect magic here, just to try to reduce the chance of him doing nasty stuff to me. I think the plan is I'm just going to hang out at each of these guys until I get a drop, and then take that drop to fight one of the other guys, right? Slowly build each of the armor sets. Like on average, it takes about 500 kills to get the full set, which is pretty reasonable. I mean, it takes me a really long time to get a kill. But this guy at least seems completely safe if I move around and change up my settings here. All right, I got a drop. The gauntlets, probably the least good one because it's really hard to replace the eradicating gloves, but it is 14% damage reduction versus 9% damage reduction, so might be enough to make something safe that was previously not safe. All right, got the helmet for mage. 3 more pieces. The rarest piece is like 1 in 433, so could go dry, but it's not too bad right now. All right, we're looking good so far. There's the boots. So I just need the 2 rare ones, the plate body and the plate legs, which are 3 in 520 and 3 in 1300. Okay. So like 1 in 400 something and 1 in 200 something. Well, I missed the pop-up for it. I don't know how this happened, but I died. It seemed like I was completely safe. I never saw the enemy's damage go above my auto-eat threshold, but something must have happened. And I lost my agile gem, which kind of sucks. Really sucks, actually. That's the ritual site. I only ever got one. It didn't get doubled when I got it forever ago. So I will go AFK this until I get another one. Hopefully it'll just get doubled this time. I think after I get this Agile gem back, I'm just going to equip these 3 items and then try to get some of the other gear sets so that I can try to get my damage reduction up to keep something like that from happening again, because that shit sucks. Here we go, got a quadruple drop. It didn't take too long. Get back on this gear grind. Yeah, it looks like already just having these 3 pieces of gear gets me to a base damage reduction of 94%, which is pretty cool. So let's see what that does for me fighting the Verloran Protector. Already in range to one-shot me. Okay, he only has the 1 attack. Okay, because he has... That's kind of funny. He gets a combination of the Tidal Edge and the attacks from the Ultima God Sword. Pretty cool. Don't think that any of these attacks are particularly dangerous, though, because I don't think he can stun me. I think having this extra gear is enough to make a difference. I might see... Oh, I guess he can stun me. Oh, and it does put me in death range. Okay, well, let me try to prepare a little bit better. Hold on. That guy actually really sucks to fight. He just has a chance to stun you with every attack, and he himself is immune to stun, which is horrible. Because the main reason why the Water Pulse staff is good is because it stuns constantly. Well, okay, I guess I'll just really carefully baby trying to get the last 2 magic upgrades. I don't know what else I could do with them. I mean, I guess I could try fighting this Torvair guy again now that I have some additional damage reduction. Let me see if it puts me in a safe range. I really need to get the plate body and the plate legs because it's already kind of tough to take off the eradicating gloves, and it's also tough to take off the despair mask for only 1% damage reduction. So maybe I'll just try to babysit and pay closer attention to dealing with the Devastator here. What I might do is take the thing that gives me slow immunity, because he can slow you a lot. One of these guys, this one, increases my base attack interval, which is a bit, but I think as long as I'm not able to be slowed, then I should be able to just push through any kind of like freezes or stuns that he does. All right, just got the plate legs. I'm going to pop out and... Well, no, I think I need to hang out and get the plate body before I pop out because I need to basically have every gear slot filled to be completely safe from getting nuked by the melee enemies. Hey, got the plate body. Let me get out of here as soon as this guy dies. Never have to fight him again. Now I have the full Devastator outfit. Should be excellent for damage reduction purposes. I might move some things around here, but let me go ahead and get a gear set together to attempt to fight. I guess I'm going to try to fight Torvair again. Maybe it'll be better now that he's that I have all this damage reduction. Maybe he won't be able to kill me. All right, checking in on like 5 hours of AFKing the Torvair. My kill speed is way down, but I'm not dying because of the defensive gear that I have equipped. So that's what matters. The fact that I can AFK it, even if it's quite a bit slower, is really the thing that counts here. I'm going to have to be careful because I can't overnight it. I am going to run out of runes sooner than later. But I'll try to let it go for a few more hours and see if I get just a little bit closer. Because as soon as I get these 100 rapier shards, I don't need to fight this anymore. All right, I'll let this go for another hour or so. I only have 69 nice rapier shards, and I'm going to run out of runes. So I think I'm just going to overnight making air runes here. All right, I overnighted runecraft again. It's the second time I've had to do it past 120 to get air runes. Hopefully that'll be all the air runes I'm ever going to need. Go back and try to finish getting these drops here. Well, you know, I'm mostly here to complain about being dry. 300 drops. I guess that's with doubling. This is supposed to be a 1 in 20 drop, and I've only gotten 2, and this was like 1 doubled drop. I just want to be done, man. 28 more to go. Here for over an hour, and I got 1 drop. Hey, I just got Mark of the Spectre level 6. I now have every single mark maxed out. That's cool. Coming close on Superior Max Cape too. You get defense to 120. I should get there from magic, I think. Ugh, come on. I got 1 drop.
All right, I'm at 98 Agile Wing Sharp Rapier Shards, so I need 2 more. So 1 more double drop, please. I wish I could see my doubling chance. I think it's pretty high because I have multiple pets that give doubling chance. I have agility stuff that gives doubling chance. I have the undead enhancement, probably like 30%. Oh, my next drop wasn't doubled. So now I just need 1 drop. I'm not actually going to be able to equip it right away because you need 120 attack and I'm only 119. So I'm going to have to go leave train attack somewhere. I guess I'll be able to use the Royal Toxin Spear to do that, so that's nice. But I'd like to finish getting the 120 defense. So once I get this drop, I might go back and finish farming that Leviathan. Because if I get the Leviathan shield, then I can equip that with the Agile Wings Rapier, which will give me a lot of damage reduction, which should make the rest of my farming project a bit easier here. There we go. 100 Angel Wings Rapier Shards. I don't have to fight this guy ever again, which is great. He's been kind of annoying. I'll finish this kill any second now. There we go. Right. Oh, there we go. Upgrade. Agile Wings Rapier requires 120 attack, so I can't use it just yet. Let me go try to finish getting 100 defense here at the Leviathan. Probably really switch to my DPS gear here, so I'm going to do that. I got another non-double drop. Those get pretty painful when it's like 1 in 500. I guess that means I need to get 1 more drop and I'm out of here. Maybe it'll be enough to carry me to 100 defense because I'm getting pretty close. Less than 1 million to go. Hey, there we go. That's the last piece I needed. I think I actually need to get the shield that this goes with, though. It's from pickpocketing, right? And I haven't done that in a really long time. Absorbing shield. Let me double check. Yeah, it's from pickpocketing the Marauder, which is this guy. I guess I never actually got the drop. That's crazy. Okay. Funny drop to require here for an endgame shield upgrade. I'm going to stay on this Leviathan. I just need to pick something to kill here because I'm really close to defense 120. Yeah, it should be like 15 minutes, so I may as well keep fighting it, I guess. Actually going to go ahead and do the polar bear instead because he has a drop that I still need. The freezing touch material. There we go, 120 defense. I'll finish this polar bear kill, and I have to find something to AFK. I might see if I have the stats to be able to deal with the Vorloran Watcher with melee, because then I could try to get to 120 attack. Obviously, I'd like to do most of that with better gear, right? With the Agile Wings Rapier. But if I can handle AFKing it, I'm going to give it a shot. Okay, so I can AFK this guy, but he's immune to poison. They're kind of mean about this. They make some of these enemies immune to whatever the second best weapon would be. So you basically need to grind out the other things. We want to come back to him later with the Agile Wings Rapier, I think. I mean, he'd be fine for farming attack. I guess I don't super need it because he's going to drop ranged gear, which is useful but not super mandatory. But maybe I'll try to get the range like feather crossbow pieces instead. Hold on. All right, so I'm mostly boosting myself here using the mage gear because, yeah, it's not really helping me with my DPS, but it's giving me a lot of damage reduction. And I think it's putting me out of range of getting one shot. It's really hard to tell with this specific enemy, to be honest, because of the way this attack works. But I think I can just AFK this, and it's going to take me more than a stream to AFK it. Little ways to go to get to 120, and then I can swap to the rapier. Okay, I've watched this for a bit. I think it's safe. I can't wear my eradicating gloves, unfortunately, and be completely safe. 'Cause I think what this is the problem is, the reason I've really had a trouble with these 3 enemies is that even with this bleed burner cape negating bleed most of the time, it's possible for you to have a stack of bleed for a couple seconds, which is long enough for the damage reduction penalty and the stun to take effect, which gives you like a 1 in 1,000 chance of dying, but that's still too high of a chance of dying to AFK something. So I kind of have to go overkill and equip all of this mage gear to be able to be 100% certain that he can't kill me. He still dies super fast, though. Oh, we should be fine. I try not to play Melvor while I'm streaming, but I'm so close to attack 120 that I might pull it up in a browser and just quickly switch to the rapier when I get to 120 here, because it should just speed things up a little bit. Doesn't really matter because no, when I hit 120, I'm going to be getting the superior max cape. I'd like to be able to record that, so I'll just have to fight it slightly inefficiently for a few hours. It's fine. All right, I think I let this run long enough. I should be superior maxed now. Attack 120. Got plenty of crossbow shards, more than enough actually. And I'm superior maxed. So let's buy that superior max cape, shall we? Definitely gonna wear that with every single skill. Maybe not for combat all the time because it's a little dangerous since it has no damage reduction on it. I think for anything that I don't strictly need DR or like bleed removal on, it should be pretty fantastic. It'd be nice to not have to swap capes all the time. This is done, so now I can upgrade it somewhere here. Here we go. Upgrade Featherstorm crossbow. And I think this is strictly better than the engulfing vortex longbow, but only barely. And I guess I have to start using bolts now instead of divine arrows, which I have significantly fewer of. Interesting that it has a block bonus. Weird. Big bleed. Cool. All right, let's swap to my cool new rapier. Oh, let's run away before I die because I have to wear a shield with that, right? Oops. Lose out on 10% damage reduction. I want to get the Leviathan shield here, but I kind of want to try this guy out really fast. Let's do, I mean, I'm eventually going to want to fight the Vorloran Watcher. I guess I could try fighting it now with all of my stacked damage reduction. I don't think he has a bleed that I have to worry about. Let me go attempt him and see what the situation is. Main problem before is that he was immune to poison. Agile Wing's pretty cool. He's evasive enough that I might want to switch to the thing that reduces his evasion. Let me check that here. That's the Occultist. I think that's a really significant evasion reduction. Probably make me kill him quite a bit faster. And I don't think I have any risk of him killing me here. So it might even is enough that I could use the Superior Max Cape. But I should probably go ahead and get my Leviathan Shield. I think it's way better than this Divine Shield. Okay, this guy is reasonable enough. I'm trying to test to make 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that even if I get stunned and am poisoned and every bad thing possibly happens, that I have more than enough damage reduction. Care of the Divine Shield, actually, because 16% damage reduction is a lot. So I'm able to use the Superior Max Cape, which is great, and the Eradicating Gloves, which is also great, and getting kills pretty quickly here. So I think the plan is to kill this guy until I get the full ranged kit, and then I can use the full ranged kit to finish getting the magic weapon that I need. And then after that, I just have to get the melee armor, and then I'm set. I'm basically done with the expansion. I have to go do the final dungeon, obviously, but it should be pretty doable now that I'm like turbo maxed. That's pretty lucky. I got the plate body super early, which is the rarest drop, so it should be no time until I get the legs and the helmet. Knock on wood. Maybe now that I've said that, I'm going to go dry on one of those. All right, got the plate legs. Just need the helmet now, which is middling rare, so I have the two rarest items. I'm equipping it now because it has better defense than the magic gear, but the same damage reduction. There we go. Watcher helmet. That didn't even take like an hour. That was really, really fast. Probably care of the new item. Let me see how many kills I got. I don't even think it was that many kills, to be honest. Yeah, 115. 113. Easy peasy. All right, I'm going to gear up for range. I'm going to try to overnight getting the magic weapon. Hopefully that is relatively painless. Okay, trying out this new crossbow, which also let me wear a shield. I think all of the endgame weapons are one-handed, so I can use shields again, which is a big help for damage reduction. I think already just kind of coming in here, I'm kicking ass. I need to see what is the thing that's most likely to cause me problems here. Uh, the bleed is a problem. So I probably still want to have the swell is if I can get away with not needing to wear the anti-bleed cape because the superior max cape is really really good. I would prefer to have that if possible. I might also be able to get away with switching to the eradication gloves. I just need to make sure that this max hit value never gets too high, even if I'm bleeding and stunned, you know? So I'm going to stare at it for a second and make sure that that's the case. Before I do too much of this, let me see if I can quickly get that Leviathan shield. So I'm going to gear up for thieving really fast. I could do things to make my thieving setup better. Just going to pop over here because I think I can probably get this item pretty quickly. Pump the Marauder a bunch here. For pickpocketing, and I've got a couple other items I need to equip. I got enough crazy stacking buffs that my stealth should give me a really high chance of getting the unique. So hopefully I get it relatively soon, and then I'm just going to overnight and get that mage upgrade that I need. I think I've got so many other good sources of rewards here that it's time to switch back to the Elite Pillar of Expertise. For the interval reduction in non-combat skills, really for the 8% chance to double items, because here it's really been for the Slayer area effect negation, which doesn't really matter anymore, and I can get around it with a bunch of other tools if I really, really needed to. And the other effects aren't crazy helpful. So I guess 25% chance to preserve prayer points, -3 prayer point cost has been pretty noticeable. I've had close to infinite prayer points, but shouldn't really be a problem going forward. So lifesteal coming down was helping a little bit with survivability and reducing food usage, but I should still be able to around that. Grab that guy. All right, that was a pretty short grind. Upgrade item. There we go. Leviathan shield. So the interesting thing with the Leviathan shield is that it's actually by default worse, 3% DR worse than the Divine Shield P. I guess I have the Divine Shield P in my back pocket in case of an emergency. Now that I'm 120 defense, I should probably finish doing archaeology to get the Relic Shield because I think that that's even 1% DR better. But if this is able to get to 5 stacks, then it's the best damage reduction in the game with this expansion, with this shield. But I think it's still probably going to be better because that reflect damage effect is going to help with killing stuff. So I'm going to re-gear up here, and we're going to overnight this Harcare thing. Okay, I think I'm completely safe to overnight this. I'm almost certainly going to get overkill because I'm killing this thing so fast that I think I'll wake up and have way more than enough to make the wands. But it's probably not a bad idea to have backups just in case. Since I am actually quite likely to die in the dungeon, the final dungeon, it would suck to lose it. So the plan is get that wand, then I have all 3 ultimate weapons. And then the only thing I'm going to need to do after that is go to the Slayer area and finish getting the melee armor set. That's the only thing I'll be missing. And once I have the melee armor set, I can fight Guardian of the Herald and get the key to go do the final dungeon. And then after that, I guess I'm going to check out Into the Abyss, but there's not really too much else to do in the base game and its first 2 expansions, so quite exciting. Yeah, like I figured, overnighting this guy way overshot, way overshot. But I've got 200 Maelstrom wand pieces. I think I might actually have more than that because I think I looted some earlier. I blind. There they are. Okay, here we go. Slicing Maelstrom wand. Great. Access to the Slicing Maelstrom archaic spell. So last thing I need to do before the end of the expansion is farm up this Vorloran Protector. So let me gear up with this new wand. All right, using this spell for the first time. It's actually kind of underwhelming compared to all the other crazy magic upgrades that we've had so far. I think this might be the weakest thing. Does the bleed and the attack interval down. Make sure I have all the appropriate runes for it. I am going to burn through these water runes pretty fast. I have to be somewhat careful around that.
Not getting quite as lucky as the ranged guy, but I already have 4 out of 5 pieces, so I just need the plate body now, which is the rare piece, so hopefully I get it. Unfortunate that I'm not getting lucky on the plate body with this guy, because he's the worst of the 3. I've gotten, like, almost 350 kills, so I'm not dry yet. But unfortunately, he not only is he the worst to kill and takes the longest to kill, he also consumes the most resources. Given how close I am to the end, I mean, I can probably do the phase that you do melee with, just using the ranged body and have slightly worse DPS. If I don't get it at rate, then I'll just go finish Throne of the Herald. Okay, I've been at this for a while and I'm officially dry, so I'm gonna bail after this attempt and try to go finish up the expansion. I don't think missing the 1 plate body is gonna be a big deal. So to finish the expansion, I need to kill this guy, the Guardian of the Herald. He has a 1 in 5 drop of the key I need to do the final dungeon. So let me just focus really hard on damage reduction here to make sure there's no chance of me dying. Okay, I think we're okay. Fight the Herald, or Guardian of the Herald. It looks like his listed max hits aren't a big deal. He is immune to stun, freeze, and crystallize. He doesn't seem very hard. I'm gonna read his attacks here. He gets extra damage reduction. He stuns me, but it's not a big deal with all my DR. I just gotta wait until he drops this. There we go. Got it on the 3rd kill. All I need, I just go to the shop. I go Slayer, access Throne of the Herald, buy. Okay, cool. So we'll go do it. I guess I'll kill him one more time. Why not? There is like a township task to kill 100 of this guy, but it's kind of unnecessary. Any second now. Okay. So the idea with this dungeon is that let me clear a slot here. The actual boss insta kills you if you're below 90% health with one of his attacks. So you basically just have to hold down the eat button. So ideally, I want to do that with as much food as possible, or as food that heals for as much as possible. So the Mystic Shark is probably going to be more than enough. I can likely pick a few more of those up here. The food box 3. Like 100% sure I don't run out of them, you know? There's other options I could do other than Mystic Sharks, but that makes 100% sure that I can get through them successfully. And I've been using that 1.5 million shrimp. I haven't used any other food. I really hope they rebalance food in Melvor 2. It's kind of a dire situation with the way auto eat works. Okay, so we'll equip that. That'll be my auto eat option once we get to the phase that can actually kill me. I'll just use this for the rest of the fight. And then let me sit here and figure out what my gear is, because I think I have to do magic and then melee and then magic again. And the reason we do magic on the 3rd phase is because if we're spamming auto eat, we can't use special attacks. But magic doesn't require special attacks to do damage. So I think phase 1 is completely safe. Phase 2 is safe. It's phase 3 that's problematic. So Throne of the Herald, here we go. Start dungeon. An opportunity to check out his attacks here. Immune to stun and freeze, chance to avoid a bunch of other stuff. Slowly gets faster and faster and more max hit, which is bad. And he also heals a shitload. So I got to do a lot of damage here. I guess I'll just record the entirety of this. It might be a little long, but hey, it's Melvor. You can skip ahead. I don't think I actually want Holy Aegis. I think I need to do as much damage as possible. So let me just check everything to make sure I'm ready here. Deja vu attack looks really annoying. I guess the idea is you're supposed to like swap combat styles mid-fight, but that doesn't seem super worth it. Let me just go ahead and start it here and see what happens. I think 1,000,000 health is a lot of health. He does have affliction, which is a problem. I kind of need to pay attention here. Possible he can do enough affliction stacks to me that I'm in trouble. Deja Vu sucks when he activates it because it's based on his turns, I think. This is all about doing a DPS race, it looks like. I guess I don't have to deal with Deja Vu on the final phase, which is nice because of just the way that he works. Being immune to stun sucks pretty bad. I think he's at max stacks on his max hit bonus. Yeah. Question then is, does he have some kind of bullshit? As long as this max hit value is less than my auto eat threshold, I should be completely fine for this phase. It's just going to be kind of slow and annoying. Phase 2 is probably going to be comparably slow. And given how this is working out, I think you see the point. I'm at max affliction. He's at max hit stacks. There's nothing else that can change about this fight, so I'm just going to pause the recording and come back. Honestly, pretty brutal first phase. Pretty long. I checked in to say I was done, but then he used Deja Vu a bunch more times and has recovered a ton of health, so might actually take a bit longer. We'll see. I never finished getting the actual Despair curse. I have the thing that lets me start the combat with it, but I think it's useless because, like, the fight's so long, so I'll probably not wear that for the next phase. Come on, any second now. Ugh, he keeps deja vuing right before he dies. I think his region exists to counteract the effect of bleed, essentially. He's so close to being dead. This is really interesting as like a DPS race. If this goes badly, I might have to leave and go get the Despair curse because I think he might be balanced on the assumption that you have it, especially when he's like nearly dead like this. I've had him within like one cast of death for a minute now. I need him to not deja vu himself twice in a row. There we go. Okay. Now phase 2 is melee. So let me re-gear for that. Ooh, painful, painful. I thought this fight worked like I think it was like maybe Into the Mist did this. There was one of these fights where you could like leave and craft stuff really quick, so I quickly crafted a ring that I was missing, the Palladium Onyx ring, and it ended the fight, so I gotta go fight him again. That sucks. That's a lot. All right. How many more clears do I need for Despair? Might just pick up Despair really fast before I do this. I only need like 12 more clears. I'm going to knock it out real quick. Probably for the best that I got kicked out there because I also need Deadly Toxins potions for the last phase, and I need to make a few more of those, so it would suck to get even further in and have to restart. All right, this is my 100th clear. I should pick up Despair. It seems like they really do balance that fight around you having everything, so I wanted to make sure I actually do have everything, which now I should. There it is, Despair. And I don't have a ton of runes for this, but it should be enough for one fight. So Throne of the Herald, let me re-gear again. I think I'm going to go in with these two things equipped and then immediately swap off them because there's no risk until I get affliction stacks to dying. But I can go ahead and get the benefit of the 5 stacks of Eradicate and 5 stacks of Malice, which are pretty powerful. Okay, I think I'm ready to do this. I'm just going to pop in, clear it, and then when I'm done, I'll show you phase 2 because you already saw me do phase 1. We'll go in and make sure that all of these stacks get burned through, which is actually pretty good. You immediately do like 200k damage to the boss if you start with these 2 items equipped. I wonder if Unholy Prayers are worth using in this fight, to be honest. Like, seem pretty good. All right, I'm gonna let it go. Yeah, Despair is actually making a gigantic difference because it causes you to do damage based on remaining health. It gets slower the lower his health is, but I was able to get down to half health like 3 times faster. Okay, that went much better, much faster. Let me actually gear up for this phase now. I'm going to do the same thing here where I start with these equipped until the debuff runs out and then swap once it runs off. So here we go.
Take too long. In fact, it's already gone. See how this phase goes in comparison. I think it's the same deal. He still has deja vu. He still has a big regen. He still buffs up a whole bunch. He still gives me affliction stacks, although he doesn't seem to be doing it very much. I think his final phase, he doesn't have affliction anymore, which is interesting. Sleep on you, which kind of sucks. I think I'm fine on damage reduction. I guess since this one is also AFKable, I'll just come back when I'm almost done, because it looks like it's going fine here. He's at max stacks. I'm not at max affliction, but I think even when I am at max affliction, I don't think his max hit's going to be high enough that it's going to be problematic. Fight was going super slow, so I ended up equipping the pirate hook to speed things up, because I don't technically need the damage reduction yet. The rate at which it afflicts affliction stacks is much lower than the first phase, so nowhere near max stacks. But if I'd noticed that this value goes above my auto-eat threshold, I'll re-equip the ring. I'm in close to the end of the phase here. One more hit. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, and now I just need to gear up for magic, switch to my Mystic Sharks, and hold down the eat button, which I'm going to record the entirety of, even if it's super boring, because I'm not going to be able to click off of it to pause the recording, so give me a sec. Just use the Shield of Magic Power, but I'm actually going to go ahead and use the Pirate Hook just because I think the extra attack speed is going to matter. So the idea is I have to start the fight, and then Sealed Fate will just insta-nuke me if I have under 90% health. So I just need to make sure that I'm always holding down Enter. Okay, here we go. Start. Hold down Enter. And I need to try to scroll up so I can see what's happening here. There we go. I think because Deja Vu is not going to be triggering, this is actually going to be much faster. The reason to not do Deja Vu on the previous phases, I guess, is just that, well, the reason to not fight him with the same combat style is that he can hit really, really hard with some of the shit that he can do. Here he's still hitting really hard. He's not one-shotting me, but 7,700 damage, 6,600, 10,000 damage. Really good he doesn't have access to affliction in this phase. Hard requiring eat spam in the final boss is kind of a cool design choice. I really enjoyed this expansion a lot. I'm excited to finally see what the heck is up with Into the Abyss, because there's like no wiki information into the Abyss. Like everything else about everything in Melvor is really well documented, but there's like this whole skill point system into the Abyss that there's no wiki articles explaining how it works. So I'm excited to discover all of that. I don't know how much stuff from the main 3 expansions carry over into the Abyss expansion, but I think like getting this pet is going to matter for some pieces of content. Going fine so far. I think the Pirate Hook was a good decision. It gets my attack speed fast enough that I'm pretty much guaranteed to get an attack off even after I reset it. And the reason you use magic here other than Deja Vu is just because every other melee and range are really dependent on the special attack to do all their damage, and here there's no special attack to get disrupted because Slicing Maelstrom is just a spell. I think he's going to get increasingly more difficult the lower his health is, because Despair is going to account for less and less of my potential damage here. My chance to hit is horrible. I just realized how bad that is. I need to pay a little attention, because if I didn't remember to go make more poison potions. So hopefully I have enough for one fight, but if I run out of poison potions, I gotta like quickly go try to swap to something useful like Critical Strike or something. And the reason we don't use the Spectre Occultist synergy, which is usually really good because it reduces enemy evasion as a percentage of their base damage reduction. He puts burn on you constantly in this fight, and if burn is on you, you're just going to be eating food every tick if you're holding the button down, which will keep you from ever being able to do DPS. So we have to use that Yak plus Dragon synergy to have a chance. Heals for so much. Got his max stacks. And he doesn't have anything that can one-shot me from full health. As long as I keep holding this button down, we should be completely fine. I said this was going to be faster than the previous phases, but it's not. Fortunately, Deja Vu is causing no problems. In fact, now when he uses Deja Vu, it's like a waste of his turn. It's great for me. This is about as long as everything else took. I feel like this fight would be borderline, if not actually impossible on mobile. I guess you could like spam tap the food, but it's nice on desktop because I can just hold down the enter button. Yeah, this is kind of like the state of the boss almost being dead in the first two phases, that like you get him below 100k, so now despair doesn't hit very hard anymore. You're just barely trying to DPS race his region. I think the poison's actually doing a lot of work in this fight, or it's at least helping to counteract his region a lot. Hopefully holding enter doesn't dismiss whatever victory pop-up I get. I don't want to like let go of it at the last second and die as a result, you know? Yeah, I like the way that this game's difficult content is definitely balanced around the good stuff. So like here you have that agility thing that gives you a diamond luck potion. So it's okay that your chance to hit is 16%. Oh, yep, it did in fact dismiss the pop-up. I think the pop-up just said that I got a pet. I think it gave me like a lore book or something. I think they'd stop doing that. Pets. This guy, the Herald. 50% mastery pool XP cap is really good. Reduced interval for all non-combat skills. Attack interval down again. Monster respawn timer down. A whole bunch of other global bonuses. Well, dismissing the pop-up was a little anticlimactic, but hey, we beat 3 expansions. We beat Vanilla, we beat Atlas of Discovery, we beat Throne of the Herald, and now it's just time to do Into the Abyss. I'm going to split the recording there and probably end an episode on this one. And next one, we'll explore Into the Abyss for the first time. I'm really excited for it.